Welcome one and all. We have returned here to EGL One Season 3. We are going to be continuing to crown the best team within African esports. Not just the best Dota team in South Africa, but the entire continent looks to this tournament to determine who really belongs at the top of the leaderboard. Today, we'll be continuing with this run, seeing which one of these teams before us, between White Rabbit Gaming and the side of Punx, has what it takes to continue the climb towards the top and maybe make a very strong push towards getting towards the finals weekend. My name is Snare and I'm joined by the Lion of South African esports, Shakey, here, as we're going to be bringing you this action. Of course, helped be brought to you by the sponsorship of Dell and Intel. Good sir Shakey, there's some hype on the cards today. It is also the most auspicious occasion. It's the kind of Dota we love. It's the Dota where somebody has to go home. How are you feeling, fam? And how are you feeling about today's matchup?
Yo, Snare, first off, just an absolutely insane to be here again. I just love Dota, man. But yeah, I just want to add in there, even though my logo is a lion, I've never heard anyone call me the Lion of esports. So that was kind of caught me off guard. That was kind of cool. But to talk about the games, man, I'm super excited. We had a game yesterday where Myrmidons went off against it was Myrmidons against GHC, and I casted it solo on my channel last night, and it was a fun little thing. And it was honestly same thing like tonight. There was a chance of one of them going home. Unfortunately, Myrmidons went home, but it's like there's a fire building up in this low bracket of people not wanting to leave the EGL, and it's so exciting to see all these teams fighting to the last breath to try and get their position into the EGL, still get a second chance. And yeah, it's I'm excited to see more of that, to be frank.
I mean, a lot of these teams, for them, it's their last opportunity to play some proper competitive Dota at a high level, right? There's going to be obviously a lot of other tournaments happening, but in terms of being able to really stake your claim, this is it. So it's no surprise that everybody's really going out of their way to bring forth the best Dota humanly possible. Of course, we are still in the lower bracket, as Shakey has mentioned. Yesterday, we sent home some competition. Today, we'll be doing the same thing. And regrettably, it's a very interesting occasion here, Shakey, because both of these two teams here, White Rabbit Gaming as well as the side of Punx, have gotten very far in the tournament historically. Both in Season 1 and in Season 2. Punx came, I think, 5th in Season 1, 6th in Season 2. WRG has occupied close to pole positions every single time. So for one of them, it's not only going to be elimination, but a drastic shakeup of what your history has normally been like in EGL. How much do you think it's going to be affecting these players to know for a fact that, hey guys, today everything can change? It's going to be, one day it was great, but today it might not be so great if we don't bring our best foot forward.
Hey, I think, like I said earlier, I think it really touches on a lot of these players when it comes into the game. We're seeing the type of playstyle that I didn't even know that some of these teams were capable of. The type of aggression and strategies that I didn't even think that some of them were even, like I said, capable of. It's honestly the amount of change that I'm seeing in them. And like you said, White Rabbit and Punx has been known for being some of the best mid-range teams in South Africa. I've seen them through multitude amount of tournaments in South Africa doing insanely well, and they are household names. They are set teams that's been in our scene for quite a while, and it's exciting to see both these teams competing against each other, and then for that to be in the lower bracket. So it adds a bit of spice, because now one of them goes home and that's it. You know, that's your finale. There's no more left. And I think I really need to hammer that in for these teams, because that's gonna make for some solid plays. Obviously, I'm a man that loves content, so if this best of 3 could go to 3, I'd love to have a story tonight.
I mean, listen, the storylines already write themselves, fortunately enough for us, right? White Rabbit Gaming, of course, being the storied organization, as you mentioned, a household name, not just in Dota, but in general within African esports. But they're trying to rebuild their roster, get back to those lofty heights where they've been the dominating squad in the past. And of course, Punx, the interesting thing about them, there's a reason at the very beginning we built this as a showcase of African Dota, not just South African Dota, because Punx is one of the few squads that is not coming to us with a fully South African roster. And as a result, they'll be making sure to represent the entire continent, bring us the heat, bring us that fire. So it's kind of this interesting situation, right? Punx try to demonstrate that inter-country play is possible within the region. WRG trying to demonstrate that it's not just that one roster that had that major domination, but that they can rebuild in that particular format. So it's gonna be fun. I'm also, like with you, hoping for a proper full 3 games, because I'm kind of tired of these 2-0s. Let us be honest. Here at EGL One, so far, I think we've had like, what, 1-2-1? Everything else has been a 2-0, if I'm not mistaken. Here in the playoffs, it's been maybe like 1 or 2. It's been a bit problematic, honestly. Like the domination on one side is, I want to see it stop before it gets too deep in the tournament.
Yeah, look, I've been crying on the sidelines, hoping just for any sort of game just to go. And you know what? To be completely honest with you, last night, I felt like that it was going to be a change. Myrmidons played the best Dota I've ever seen them play. In both occasions when they went up against Jet. And remember, Jet is the team that you voted for in the podcast to take this win, right?
Don't remind me.
They are an extremely strong new stack that's come into the scene now. So they are all the players. They are well known in the entire Dota scene. But Myrmidons controlled in both the games. They controlled the entire first 20 minutes of the game to a point where I was starting to, in the second game, obviously I was doing my own production and everything, I was starting to change overlays in the background while there was pauses happening because I was expecting three games to go on. And both games, unfortunately, their late game presence didn't really like keep up the momentum, and then GHC kind of took it over and they 2-0'd them. But I want that, Snare. I want that story, man. And I do hope that it occurs tonight.
I hope so too, but I'm sure there's a lot of fans of WRG that are not hoping for that. They are hoping for a very quick 2-0. They want these to be like 13, 14-minute games so they can go home and be like, oh, well, WRG through to the next stage of the tournament. To give everybody at home an idea of what everybody is playing for. They're not just here to try and stake their claim as one of the best teams within the African continent, but this is all about making sure you get as high in the bracket as possible, because that's where that sweet money is at. There is 50,000 Rand. Woo! Quite a bit of money in the prize pool here. The first team, of course, getting 25,000, the lion's share of the prize pool. Second place getting 12,500, third 6,500, fourth place 4,000, and then fifth, the last money position is 2,000 bucks. So of course, you want to be making sure you get as deep in the run of the tournament as humanly possible. You don't want to get left out of the money. And yes, coming top 8, coming top 6, it's nice, it's cool, but Punx, the team that we're going to be witnessing here, they've had the unfortunate situation here, Shakey, where season 1 they come 5th, they're in the money. Season 2, they come 6th, they're out of it. So if there's any squad that knows what it feels like between getting in and out of the money, it's going to be Punx. They want to get back in there. So that hunger, that desire, that drive might just drive them to create that content for you and make this a very interesting series against WRG.
And what a story that would be. If Punx could make it back into the top 3, even possibly make it up, you know... I'm always looking for that fairy tale. So maybe they've got something in their sleeve that they're hiding away that they're going to throw out here against White Rabbit. White Rabbit, also a team that probably wants to finally make it also up into the top parts of this of EGL. I mean, what more can you really honestly add to this tournament? Like, both these teams, we keep hammering this in, are very much in a position where they want to get to the top. Now, 50,000 Rand is a lot of money, Snare. Yeah. If you were one of these teams, and you thought you genuinely had a chance at winning them, what would you be spending that money on? Like, if you, like, obviously 50,000 entire prize pool and stuff, but the winnings that you get for first prize, like, where do you think these Oaks are going to be spending on more coaching niches for the teams? Probably not. You think it's going to be a weekend out with the boys? Where do you, as a player, if you were to be one of them?
Let's be honest, let's be serious about what Dota players are, right? So the first place that money is going is someone's going to be like, sweet, the next 6 months of Dota Plus are paid for, awesome. I've got that to take another bag. I'm going to be buying myself a new mouse pad, and then I'm going to buy myself, not a new mouse, but for some whatever weird reason, right? I'm going to buy RGB strips all over the table. Will it help me? No, not at all, but I'm going to have the RGB.
Annoyed, man. Hey, look, if I was one of them, I'd be saving that money, because your battle pass levels are expensive, bro. Because that would go straight to the battle pass, and they've been teasing us a while now with that battle pass. I think it's probably going to come end of August. So that I think that first deposit's going to go for that 500 Rand bundle you can go off the bat, because these days. Gaben's not really too kind with those levels, but yeah,
listen,
man.
These days Gaben is saving for retirement for some reason. I don't know. He's just,
no, he's saving for his entire family retirement.
some of those levels in the battle pass, you just look at it, you're just like, my God, okay, this is a little bit ridiculous, you know. Well, the day will come here, Shakey, where they take some of the money that comes out of the battle pass and be like, you know what, EGL 1 season 6, season 7, not going to be just EGL 1 for the region, but y'all will be hoping EGL 1 DPC. So here's the money.
Ooh,
enjoy life.
African DPC. That sounds
I think it's inevitable.
It has to
I think it's inevitable, but it's gonna take a few years. But I do think it's inevitable. It's gonna happen.
But how crazy is it that even though our rank servers and stuff are completely taken away from us, our scene is still very much, in terms of the teams that's playing against each other, our scene's very much going ahead. Everyone's still very much invested in playing. Got amazing tournaments like EGL coming up in and saving the scene and making sure that there's a insane amount of opportunities for these players to prove themselves, and even for young kids. I mean, working with some of these kids in South Africa, it's actually surprising to hear some of these oaks go, "Hey, I've seen these teams playing EGL. I want to play in EGL when I get good." Like, you know, that's kind of like a little bit of a chip on your shoulder when you think about it for EGL.
I mean, everybody at home, Shakey cannot understate this enough. The fact that EGL legitimately did save the seed in many regards. We're on Lifeline, ICU support. It was done and dusted. Doctors outside saying, GG, you can't do anything. But then in comes EGL, in came the sponsorships, and then we revived the South African Dota scene and made sure that Africa is still relevant on the map of Dota 2. And of course, with that here, Shakey, EGL is now going to be on for the night with some elimination Dota, because we have the first draft on the line, WRG taking on the side of Punx. One winner gets to stay in the tournament, the other... sadness and sorrow. Let us find out who that is going to be for us here today, Shakey. Who are you favoring? I know you want Punx to be able to win this out. What do you think they need to do? If there's going to be anything special, do you think there's going to be any like cards up their sleeve that they're holding on to for this last matchup?
Look, all these teams have been surprising me off the bat. So I don't want to take favoritism because you know my heart sits with another team already. So I don't want to go too far. I don't want to know that team just yet. We're not going to play favoritisms tonight. That's cool for me for another casting opportunity. But I do want to say that as long as they please get the Tiny and the... Okay, well, Dawnbreaker is going to be picked up. So step one of those crosses has unfortunately fallen down. So I don't want to see Dawnbreaker. I don't want to see Tiny. I don't want to see Marcy. I don't see Winter Wyvern. Like that, it's just Beastmaster.
Bad news for you, buddy.
But
that's some bad news for you, buddy.
Okay.
Coming.
I mean,
this is gonna be Razor. It's either Razor Tiny or Razor Wyvern, and then other team goes Dawnbreaker Wyvern or Dawnbreaker Tiny. Like, I'd be shocked and amazed. I hope there's something different, if I'm honest. I hope that they're gonna be giving us a curveball here, but regrettably, some of these heroes are honestly too good. I actually had, funnily enough, right? I was talking to one of my friends earlier today about Razor, and he was asking why I keep loving this hero. And then I started talking about him. And when I stopped talking, Shakey, it was literally 5 minutes later, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm just talking about this Razor hero.
I like him. I like what he offers in the current meta. Like, it's very much an anti-hero pick. It's very good against a lot of the melee right clickers. And it's, I mean, with this BKB refresher build that a lot of these Razors go for, it's extremely difficult to go against. Do you think we're going to be seeing a Nyx from White Rabbit against?
Well, it doesn't matter. GG, we're done.
They get both.
Hands.
They get both.
Dawnbreaker Tiny. We're done. They don't even have Winter White on the other side. I think now, well, fortunately, I think it does help that they banned Nyx on the side of Punx, but it wouldn't matter anyway. How were they allowed to get Dawnbreaker and Tiny, dude? Funnily enough, we actually saw this in another elimination game last week, where we saw, which team was it? It was Enter the Wukong versus 4Q Gaming, and 4Q went for, no, was it them? Yeah, it was them. And 4Q had opening Dawnbreaker Tiny, and then the other team had Razor Winter Wyvern. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. It did not go the way they were supposed to, because these heroes... This is just an amazing opener, honestly, that I'm seeing right now from the side of Punx. The only thing they have to do right now is just prevent White Rabbit Gaming from just getting anything to combo up with the Snapfire. So if you ban like a Mars, then you're good. Then you're happy. Life is good for you.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I think I hear somewhere in my ear from production that they're asking why I don't want people to pick the meta. Because I'm tired of seeing it, okay? I want to see guys just pick something that's not in the meta and then stomp with it. Am I wrong for wanting that? Am I wrong for not wanting, you know? So honestly, this Tiny Dawnbreaker, the fact that they were able to get that, it's rough. The Nyx was banned, obviously massive I think me and you were talking about it last time, how good it is. Actually, you said that a lot of international team was picking up this Nyx. I think you said from the Asian side we were picking up Nyx against Dawnbreaker. Yeah, especially the Chinese was picking up this Nyx against a Dawnbreaker. I saw it last night actually get picked up. It was insane. It was so good for the setup that it has. What do you think? Could they be looking at dealing with this combo in the next few phases of them picking?
The only thing that makes sense to me now from the side of WRG, I could see them easily going back for a hero like Puck. Sadly, they banned Puck themselves, so they need some kind of lockdown to really make the use of the full Snapfire. There's nothing that can really fully interrupt the combo anymore of Dawnbreaker Tiny, so there's two ways to go about it. Either you go like absurd amounts of burst damage, or you just try to out-sustain them yourself. So them getting this Bristleback seems like they're going to be going for option 2. So I imagine that the heroes that are going to emerge after this are like Death Prophet, heroes like maybe Dazzle, Warlock, one of these like super healing supports, making this Bristleback and the Razor practically unkillable on the front lines. Punx are very good though on their bans. I love the fact that they banned both Winter Wyvern and the Mars. Winter Wyvern would have given WRG that sustain that they need in the situation, and then Mars would have given them the team fight they need with the Snapfire. But with both being banned, does make life much harder for WRG. However, with Bristleback, if they can keep Bristleback alive for long enough, then you can sort of out damage the amount of sustain that Punx have right now. But dude, they actually draft things so well. They steal away what would normally make Bristleback so good in the situation. Taking away his Dazzle, picking up Alchemist so that you actually have more sustain than he does in the middle of the fight. I'm loving what I'm seeing from this drafting pattern of Punx, if I'm going to be completely honest.
I wanted to say they need to pick up AA, but the reason why I was a bit unsure about it is because, yes, the AA seems very good for me, and it's really, if he lands his ult, it would be obviously earth-shattering. But all I'm seeing right now is a lot of heroes that's got high mobility, except for the Dazzle. A lot of save that they've got as well. And I'm wondering, how well are White Rabbit Gaming going to be able to catch this team with this AA? Because the only stun that they have right now is the Snapfire cookie. That's it. So the team can basically engage and disengage as much as they want. They got the slow from the Bristleback, but all it is a simple BKB. Do you think they need something to? Do you think I'm right in saying that, or do you think they need something else to kind of like lock down the team in order to actually land this big combo that the AA offers this team?
If we look at a lot of the games that AA is actually involved in, you'll see that they at least have one major hero that can not necessarily provide incredible lockdown, but at least some degree of lockdown long enough for the Ice Blast to actually land. In this game, the AA pretty much has to be playing with some 360 no-scope type of aim for the future, connecting onto these heroes. Like, on the bright side, AA is super good against Dazzle, Dawnbreaker, and Alchemist once they're healing up, because you just prevent that kind of sustain from coming out. But like you mentioned, they don't have any natural way of allowing those spells to land. And you just, like, in general, Razor, like how the team fights normally function, right, is that Razor runs at you randomly. Bristleback needs somebody to hold on to you long enough so that he can actually dish out damage. But here, Punx can just walk away. They'll toss Razor back with the Tiny, or they'll just slow you down with the Poison Touch of the Dazzle, stun you up with the Concoction, and just be like, cool, we're just leaving until your ultimates are down on the Razor, until you're out of mana on the Bristleback, then we'll come back. We'll re-engage happily. So this last pick for the side of WRG absolutely has to provide an absurd amount of lockdown for the squad overall. But the difficulty is that they kind of are missing a mid-hero right now. Punx very wisely banned away this Death Prophet and the Visage, giving them, not giving them the push potential from the side of WRG. DP in particular would have been super good this game, but without these type of heroes, now you have these sort of pseudo anchors in the Raze and the Bristleback. All the natural heroes that go into the mid lane are jumpers, but those jumpers will also be extending the distance between themselves and the rest of the team. So, they're not going to get a jumper. Okay, they just get flat damage from the backline. They pick up the Zeus here. So, in principle, Shakey, AA Ice Blast, in tandem with the Zeus ultimate, in tandem with Morty's Kisses, it's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage.
It is a lot of damage. It is a lot of damage.
Do they get to hold people in position long enough for that damage to come out reliably is the question.
See, I live in this current reality, and from what I've seen, is that generally when you're playing up against a team, you're not gonna have that simple 5-man AA ult. It's gonna be something different. I think AA, like you said, 360 no scope. I think it's gonna be 2 miles away, sitting in base, so he can literally cover the entire map when he pops the ult. Because that's probably the only time when he's actually going to be able to connect the 3 most important. That's gonna be Tiny, Dawnbreaker, and Alchemist. If he doesn't land, you can forget about it. It's going to be so difficult. And like you mentioned before, Tiny's going to jump in, toss back the Razor. They're going to engage in the Razor. They've got so much burst damage. Pop it out. And what is White Rabbit left with? They've got Bristleback to kind of engage, but they don't really have anything to deal with the... It's kind of like, I don't know. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but looking at this draft as it is right now, I think Punx has answered and even countered every single thing that White Rabbit threw at them with this draft.
I am in full agreement, and this is one of those wonderful and beautiful situations in Dota 2 where we get to see a team that is favored, that is quote-unquote better in this kind of situation, as WRG probably has the edge coming into this prediction-wise. However, the better draft almost certainly belongs to the side of Punx. So now it has to come down to who's going to execute better. If this is a normal game and White Rabbit Gaming aren't like 30-40% better than Punx, this should be a fairly straightforward game for Punx. Another thing we didn't really talk about here, Shakey, is Alchemist is a terrifying pick for this game. This Alchemist, normally when you see Alchemist get stopped, is because the enemy team has the kind of heroes that can invade his side of the map and stop him from farming. Who does that invasion on the side of WRG? You can't at all. None of these heroes move onto the other side of the map early enough. So this is a free Alchemist game. This is a free Tiny game playing from the mid lane. A free Dazzle game because there's no jump from the back lines. Oof. This should not be a hard game for the side of Punx unless WRG can make it hard for them.
You know, and do you agree with me saying that WRG kind of tunnel vision when they saw the sustain, looked at what's the best option, knew that AA is obviously really good for that, and just picked it. Thought that, you know what, we can stop the sustain. We've got the support now, but then failed to realize just at what level that might help. Jace might actually be in trouble here. Overextended a bit. They are going to get the first blood for WRG. And, you know, I don't want to be biased, so I think I'm going to keep it level here. But prediction-wise, I'm gonna swing towards Punx for this game. And let's hope there's a caster curse happening. Let's hope it turns around.
I also think Punx should win, so I think we've just given the W to WRG. Congratulations, boys, for getting one.
I love it. So not even in the first start, we get a smoke out here from WRG as they've gotten the first blood. So I think Punx is just going to back away now. And while we wait for these bounties to get taken off, and just this game to start,
the battle begins.
I'm still curious at this Alchemist top lane. What do you think? Do you think Alchemist should have rather sat mid and given Tiny top, or do you think giving this Tiny more levels in the early start of the game would be more beneficial for them to control the pace of the game?
I guess with the support duo that they've gotten for themselves, it does become a little bit complicated to justify putting this Alchemist anywhere but a core role like in the safe lane itself. Since you are playing the support Coddle, support Dazzle, you need to put this Tiny mid. Like putting him off lane would kind of underwrite the power of this Dawnbreaker this game. I feel like the way that they've laned this makes sense, but it does leave you a little bit vulnerable because this is not a fun lane. To be fair, there's no melee hero that enjoys playing into Razor, so he's going to be hating life no matter what outside of the top lane, but I think in general it's okay. It's surprisingly difficult to kill Alchemist in this kind of configuration because once you get level 2 on the Dazzle, you have Shallow Grave, and then you're just not killing Alchemist with the heroes that you have on the side of WRG.
I agree with you on that, and I mean, they've got a lot of sustain. And then mid lane, what? This Tiny is gonna obviously start leveling up. We've spoken about why we think it's gonna be mid, but Zeus, as you can see, the amount of harass that this hero can put away onto a melee or a hero like Tiny, what would be the best strategy for him to actually hold on to this mid lane and not get pushed off? Or is it actually opposite to what I think? Does Tiny do actually better against the Zeus once he gets levels?
The only person who does good against Zeus is DDoS. You have to DDoS the Zeus player. Make sure you can't connect to the game. The Zeus hero is ridiculous, honestly. Like in the mid lane, it feels like there's not much. The only way you beat Zeus mid that I've seen is that you pick heroes that once they get to level 6, either one of two ways. Once you get to level 6, you can solo kill the Zeus. So heroes like Puck, Ember Spirit, Void Spirit. We've seen some Earth Spirit and Pudge's mid as well that can accomplish the same thing. Or you pick heroes like you can pick Tiny, right? But the reason you pick Tiny is that you can get a rotation from somebody else on the map, and Tiny can help you get a kill. But most importantly, once you get level 6, you can leave and do something else elsewhere. And just be like, "Hi, Zeus, you got me." Whatever. Like, there's no way to beat this hero mid, right? Right now, it's way too good. So you just let him go, let him do his thing. As long as FICO damage is not falling too far behind on the CS, which he isn't right now, and as soon as he gets some degree of sustain here, with this magic wand, he should be fine because Zeus plays the lane with like max spam of the damage. It's sort of similar to, do you remember those old school Batrider lanes in this mid lane? Very same thing. Batrider's going to win the lane, but if you buy a magic wand, you should be okay as a Tiny.
Yeah, you should be fine because you got the sustain kind of just to help you through all the amount of spam. Yeah, that amount of spam that comes from him. Because I actually saw, I think it was a Tiny and a Zeus matchup last night, and the Tiny actually ended up winning because his team rotated more towards mid. Tiny ended up getting his blink really quick on a really good timing, and that then completely ruined Zeus's game because he was able to jump the Zeus, and obviously Zeus can heavily jump away, but once that Tiny is on top of you, I think it's a little bit impossible to get him off.
The one bright side for the Tiny this game is that because they have the Dawnbreaker as support rather than as core rather than as support, there's no natural hero on the side of Punx that can make that move at middle. So there's no time where you can like that. But Dawnbreaker might die. Nice fine.
Yeah, nice fine. I mean, Jace there just to support and help his teammate out. Taking a little bit of... What is that? Oh, yeah. Oh, top lane.
Razor top.
Milipa. Like in trouble. Oh, they've got a little bit of damage here. They got to have... The plasma kill's gonna come out. He's actually gonna trade the kill, but Freitix is the one that's gonna come out. Who died first? Oh, the Razor died first. That's unfortunate. That's not gonna be XP for any of those scores.
Part of me is actually wondering, wouldn't it have been better for Punx to actually lose the Dazzle first? Because if Dazzle dies first, Freitix gets level 3 automatically.
Ooh, they do get the cookie top lane. They got also the static link. That's going to connect. Shadow Wave's going to come through. They do not have the shallow grave. So the right click's going to fly through from Milipa. He does get it done. He does trade the kill. So he's going to get that back. As we do see a little bit more right clicks coming from Dazzle, but I don't think it's going to be too much for Zeus, as that poison touch is not the funnest thing to deal with if he keeps getting those stacks on you.
No grave level 2. Normally you don't get grave level 2 in the lane, so I'll forgive him a little bit here on the Dazzle play, but against this lane, you have to expect that level 2 is going to be a kill opportunity for them. And they demonstrate that. They now have level 3. They are now going to be having a very good time on these heroes. And now you can never actually move anywhere as a Dazzle. You have to stay entirely locked to the top part of the map. You can't move to help secure runes. You're going to be way too dangerous. The only way you can move off this lane right now is if you spot Billy going somewhere towards the mid lane, and then maybe you can make that kind of move yourself.
Okay, and I've got a question for you as well. So, the debate, obviously the same thing with Dawnbreaker, whether you should go BKB first or Shard. With Zeus, what do you think is more important? Going after your eventual items that you really need, like your Aether Lens, should it be Ags or Shard? Because I've seen some Zeus's ball Shard first. Oh, we missed a bit of action bot lane. As it seems that they've been able to... Oh, it's just the support. It's alright. they die all the time. It's fine. You can just keep the action going. I've seen some Zeus's build Shard first, and some of the Zeus I've seen build Ags first. And I am of the thought that Ags is top lane. Billy taking some damage. They do have the poison touch. Who's going to land through? I don't think it's going to be enough stun time, as Billy is going to go down to the poison of Freitix, as that acid spray helps him clean up that kill.
Very awkward positioning there from the Snapfire. A little bit too far forward, but bottom, they end up losing Tiger. He got dove underneath the tower. Oh my god, that is huge. Losing Bristleback in the safe lane, like, this is a very strong lane, but I'm not entirely sure it's supposed to be beating Bristleback like that. That is super, super hot. To answer the question before, there's going to be more action. Middle.
Cookie from mid. The toss back lands on Freitix. He does get the Heavenly Jump. There's a slow Psycho. They get another cookie. It's going to connect. Billy trying to do the right clicks onto Psycho. He might have bitten off a bit more than he can take. As I think there was a bottle swap for the mid laner, and he just saw the opportunity, went straight for the Avalanche, and he kind of just, I think, didn't really think about it too much.
A little bit of miscommunication there between FICO Damage and the rest of the team. The team should have told him, hey man, we just killed the Snapfire. Do not aggress onto the Zeus right now, because he's absolutely going to TP to the mid lane.
And top lane, Zeus, Razor is going to try and latch onto Freitix here. He does have the acid spray, but it doesn't do too much damage as the static link takes away everything. He needs to watch out because the Dazzle might actually go down. Right click's going to connect. Freitix should be able to get the right click, but the ult from Zeus is going to help him out as he does go down eventually, but not before he kills off 2. And Zeus assisting the team and helping him to clean up this lane that kind of looked like it was going to go towards the ult.
This hero, man, Razor, dude. Razor. There's a reason this hero is one of the most first-picked heroes. Not even first phase, just overall first pick in the draft, because there's how many other offlane heroes can do this for you? He dies earlier into the safe lane hero, then finds himself a double kill, demolishing the top lane. It's very few heroes that can make this happen.
Yeah.
You can't, like, it's just so good. Before, there's going to be more brawling on the map because Astra, no, he's fine. I think the thing that's going to end up happening with the Zeus for this game, I think
Sorry, another opportunity. They do have the unstable concoction. It's not. It is going to land, but it's going to be enough. Does Dazzle have his shallow grave this time? No. Level 4, no shallow grave. He does get the poison touch down onto Melee as he tries to run away. Another stack, another time. One more stack, another time as he gets another stack. Melee falling dangerously low as we just see this Dazzle keep stacking up, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. He does have the plasma field. He does connect. Frightix is in a bad position here, and they actually clean it up. Oh my! Frightix again. Snare. What happened there?
So what happened is that they got a little bit cocky, right? We were talking earlier about how they can't play this lane with the Alchemist provided the Dazzle isn't nearby. Because as soon as Dazzle leaves the lane, you're just way too vulnerable as the Alchemist. And that comes to fruition. Bipolar, he's gonna die, but whatever. Astro might actually die. This is the much more
might turn it around because Tiger's moved to help here. They do have the Mortimer Kiss is going to come through. That's going to clean up one. They do. Bipolar is going to go down. But, I mean, that Jace does snag a nice little bounty rune. Just, you know, just for collateral for taking out his teammate. So, but sorry, you were saying?
Worth, dude. First, I'm going to say Worth. He gets the bounty. They're going to get the double bounty on their side. And they made sure that the Alchemist is going to have some uninterrupted time in the top lane because Billy did have to make this big rotation bottom. And one of the reasons that the Razor has been able to dominate the Alchemist so much is because of the help of the Snapfire. So, Asta, I think you will take that death. You'll tank it. But the thing I was going to say is that this game, as good as the Aghanim Scepter is going to be, Aghanim Shard, percent base damage against 3 strength cores, 2 healing heroes, as well as 2 heroes that have ultimates that pretty much just give you sustain. You absolutely need some percent base damage in these kind of contexts. So he's already queued it up actually. Now that we click on the Zeus, he's going for this Aether Lens, Eul Scepter straight into the shot. I think don't even bother with the Eul Scepter, straight shot. Start with that one immediately and then collect the damage numbers from your side as a reward.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like, the shard is really strong. I've been experimenting with Zeus on support lanes a lot. Just trying him out. I obviously just go for the mana boots into tranquils for the Aether lens as well. So like swap it out. Ooh, Zeus actually connects a kill top as Frightix goes down again to this Razor that's popped out his ult. We do see a rotation from Psycho. Battlefield's going to fly through. Is it going to be enough? He does get the kill on Bipolar as the freeze does connect and the Razor Melee just going to eat this one up. Is he going to be able to get the Battlefield off in time to get the kill? He does indeed. He gets a double as this lane, top lane. Past his curse.
Well, I hope Millibar is enjoying this game as a Razor. It's going to be the last time he's allowed to play this hero in the series because this is a bit much. He's absolutely demolished the top lane. 4 deaths on the Alchemist here, Shakey. All of them courtesy of this top lane Razor aggression. This time around doesn't even necessarily need the advent of Billy. You know, I was mentioning earlier that without Billy being around, he might have to curtail some of this aggression top, but that turned out not to be the case. Millibar are far enough ahead to be able to make that aggressive play. And the worst part about this is how far behind Alchemist is now as a result. We are about 10 minutes into the game here, Shakey. We don't even have the Sacred Relic available for this Alch. His Radiance timing is so delayed. He also only has the 1 point into the Grievel's Greed. He's been dying so many times, hasn't been able to find much experience, so this is going to be a much slower Alchemist game than we are normally used to seeing these days.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do see that I've seen a lot of videos of a lot of pros playing Alchemist both in the mid and the safe lane. And it seems that the general timing for that Radiance is safe lane sitting around like 14 to 13 minutes. And I've seen some mid players actually get it right to get that Radiance down in about 9 to 10 minutes with the right amount of stacks and farm included. So where do you think this Alchemist stands? Probably at around 15 as well, or if he doesn't get interrupted.
But what I've been seeing is like you mentioned, the mid lane one is like a lot faster, like 9 minutes or something. Yeah. What we've normally been seeing is good. It's like right bottom.
I think some action. Mortimer Kiss is going to get committed onto Astra. He does pop out the one, but it's not going to be enough sustain to help. But all the while, Melee just glides through the Everglades here, bot lane, as he goes for Jace. Jace does pop out the magic wand. Is it going to be enough? That slope the plasma field should clean it up, and Phoenix will come out to clean up the kill. While Frightix's position does get shown here, as he's going to go for the immediate TP out, so that Melee can't keep dominating this game.
This Razor, man, what a hero. Just putting domination on both sides of the map. He helps. He takes down the tier 1 tower in the top lane. Immediately ports bottom, not just to save the tower. Because normally you make that move after taking the tier 1 tower yourself around the 10-minute mark. But he also comes in to save the Bristleback's life and prevent them from pushing the tower entirely. So they keep their map advantage, taking more in the top lane. He is feeling very comfortable to play now middle. So him and Phoenix can just sort of combo on to try and take this tower as soon as possible. And this Alchemist, you know, we're talking about these timings. Normally I've been seeing 9 minutes from the mid lane Alchemist, but from the safe lane, if you're anything later than 13 at the latest, and even then it feels a little bit slow, and you can get 13 if you have like full treads, maybe like 3 braces or something. Shakey, he's got 2 braces and brown boots, and he's still going to be getting a 13, maybe even 14-minute radiance at this point. It is not looking great right
his
now.
boots. Yeah.
Exactly, dude. It's so rough.
That is a very rough run indeed. Don't you think that Freitix should have possibly just looked at, because he did get 3, he went 3-1-1 and then 1 into his ult, and now he's got 2 into Grievous. But don't you think with that acid spray, you should have possibly started looking at getting out of the lane as quickly as possible as soon as you started losing that lane so quickly? I mean, 4 deaths for position 1 before the 10-minute timer, that is that's not ideal. That's not ideal at all.
I'm gonna put a little bit of blame onto FICO damage here. I'm not gonna say it's necessarily just Freitix's fault, right? Because if you're playing this Alchemist in the safe lane, you kind of require a little bit of help from the mid lane hero. And in this situation, FICO damage can't really do all that much because he's playing tiny, doesn't have blink yet.
We do have a smoke from WRG, so they're gonna look for this Alchemist.
Oh, he's actually dead, dude. He's actually so
going
dead.
to make this day worse. As really connects, they don't get the ult of the AA, but they do. I mean, the Mortimer Kiss is gonna find through. That's just another opportunity for this Razor just to get more advantage and snowball on this team. And dude, from what we've thought was a very easy game for Alchemist. Bot lane, more action. Maybe Millie looking for a kill. He's gonna go straight for Jace. He doesn't care. Jace is gonna try and pop him away. Does get the blame. Does get the pushback as Dawnbreaker gets away with his life as well, as he pops the Solar Guardian onto a teammate just to escape this absolute onslaught that WRG is throwing at them. And both of us, I agreed with your statement when you said that WRG doesn't have a means to Psycho. Is he also now the next one on the cutting board as Millie pushes mid? For yet another opportunity to get the kill. Tiger gets the slow.
Dazzle?
With enough. Dazzle's gonna no! Psycho's gonna go down to Phoenix in the ult, and that's gonna clean up yet another one. As they've rotated mid, they didn't even lose the mid. The tower's on 22 health.
It's not actually lost. They can still take the tier 1 tower, go back and deny it. And you know what I was mentioning earlier about how there's a little bit of miscommunication between FICO damage and the rest of the squad?
Yes.
To let him know that, hey, don't play aggressively into Zeus right now. He's going to have backup in a second. I think what ended up happening here, a similar situation. Solar Guardian gets thrown by Astra towards the Dazzle, right? Because he recognizes that, you know what, if I stay in the situation that I'm in right now, I'm going to end up dying. So he eats the Solar Guardian to leave this bottom lane, but as a result, it's not available to come middle. And FICO damage is playing more up as if there's either a Solar Guardian ready or there's a Dazzle TP available to come and save him, and neither of which are true at that moment in time. So when he gets caught out, you can just see by how he was moving that he was equally as surprised that he's dying. He's like, oh snap, where's nobody's coming. I'm just gonna die. It feels bad.
That feels bad, man. And I mean, what I was going to say as well is that we both agree on the statement that you made where you said they don't really have anything to push into the jungle to try and interrupt the farm that the Alka's going to be having. But now that they've gained the momentum above the average that we thought they would get, they are free. They have the entire map to themselves, even though that Punx has got this entire global they also have this global presence with the Dawnbreaker, like you've mentioned as well. Dawnbreaker has to use the ult to disengage, not even to save the teammates. So this has turned into a game that we didn't really account for.
We did not. You can't really account for an Alchemist dying 4 times in the laning phase. That
I mean,
generally
like
does
that.
not happen. You know. Also, as good as Razor is, we normally don't see Razor being 8, 2, and 5 at the 15-minute mark, you know? It's because the thing is, when you think of, if we assess this game, mid lane went okay, right? FICO damage is quite behind right now, but we have to remember Phoenix got a lot of kills and some assists. Oh, the 1 assist he got by just throwing in damage from all across the map, not having to involve himself in fights. FICO damage did okay in the lane, but FICO damage, oh, he's fine. No one should die.
Well, as you say his name, oh, he's gonna pop out. He gets the blink off on foot. That's a wasted Mortimer Kisses. That's good for them.
Yeah.
I do.
Should actually re-smoke immediately. They should go for fight like this. Because they just got this blink tag and the blink has just been revealed. So you're going to be losing a little bit of that timing of surprise. But they might not be anticipating you just jumping in, and they just got the rads on the Alchemist. It's very late, but yeah, now's the perfect time to smoke. Go fight, go fight, go fight.
I mean, 15 and a half minutes, you're good. And I like the fact that he's turned off the rads while they're smoked up. He doesn't want to give away his position. As he moves up in top lane, doesn't have that chemical rage. As he pops out the ult, but the cookie's going to land in. They're going to pop the air ult, and that's going to be it for it. Phoenix is going to connect with the ult as well. Here comes Astra to try and clean up the pieces as Phoenix still on the back. We see Jace join the fight here. Tiger still front line. Looking for opportunity as the TP is going to come out here from the Tiny. All while Melee, nowhere to really to be seen, as the team does take 2 down. I mean, it's a good fight for them. And not too bad for Punx.
It's a very good fight for WRG, but yet again, a little bit of miscommunication from Punx. They go for this reveal. It was a very good idea, but a little bit too much distance between the Dazzle and the Alchemist. Speaking of Dazzle...
Yeah, I mean, mid lane, like you said it's like it's a set in stone. We can't even let our words go cold before another fight breaks out. And Melee and Phoenix picks up a fight against the Tiny, takes him out. And Felix might be the next one. They might have the vision, and he's going to pop the Unstable Concoction. Sorry, he's got Chemical Rage. As he pops the Unstable Concoction, try and go. But the BKB reveal from Melee. Melee is there. He can't really do anything. He stuns the air instead. But Melee is attached. He's latched to the hip, and they look for more as Astra gets caught out. The cookie's there, not going to connect, but they do get the lightning bolt that's going to stop that TP as the bipolar comes through with the ult, connects, and they get 3 down just like that. Trades the kill that they've just got made. And now WRG just reasserts their dominance, and we just go forward.
In my entire life of watching, playing, casting Dota 2, I don't think I've ever once in my life seen a situation where an Alchemist is behind more or less 5k on gold before the 20-minute mark, and then that Alchemist goes on to win the game. It just, at least core Alchemist. It can happen as a support, but core, it just does not happen. Oh boy. Game is super hard, and what makes it even harder here, Shakey, is the lack of defensive items overall. The main issue that they're having, and we saw in that fight in the top lane, why Minipaw is able to go and dominate that fight. Now that he has BKB, he is actually practically immortal. They don't have any right-click damage on the side of Punx. I mean, they have a Radiance on Freightrix, no other actual right-click item. There's a Desolator that's just been picked up on the Stormbreaker, but Astra doesn't have anything on top of that, so their damage output is very, very limited in the face of a BKB. And it's not the only BKB. Eventually, there will be another one after this Bristleback finishes the Aghanim Scepter. For now, WRG literally can do whatever the hell they want. And the issue with Punx is, what's the actual counterplay? Unless they find like one of these supports very off guard, then you can kill them. But you know, we were talking in the draft about the relative lack of reach on the side of WRG. Unfortunately, Punx also have a pretty decent lack of reach themselves. Unless they jump in with FICO damage on this Tiny with the Blink Dagger, he's it. Like, outside of doing that, how else do they actually reach the Zeus, reach the AA, reach the Snapfire? And because of how tanky Minipaw on his Razor is, and now Tiger is on his Bristleback, there's never actually any opportunity to get past the initial 2 heroes to get to the back ones, which are much more important.
You know, just said that we made the prediction saying they don't have any sort of reach to jump on the back line. And I was kind of, when we were talking about that, I was kind of banking on the fact that Punx would get these important items like Blinks, 4 staffs, things up so they can kind of close that range. You get the Tiny to jump in, he's there, Alchemist on the backline with merely just a Rad, BKB, and a Blink, and he's immediately in, trying to fight the fight. Dazzle and Cottle's on the background to try and give support, give assistance, give sustain, but they don't have the items. Dazzle's opted to go for an Urn of Shadows, which is possibly going to be turning into a Spirit Vessel, but he doesn't have a 4-star. Where's the 4-star? Where? I mean, yes, the Urn is fantastic and it's a good item, especially stacks with his Poison Darts. It's going to be great for countering, sustaining that a little bit later in the game. But right now, as the game stands, this isn't a game where they're leading. This is a game where they want to do damage. In actual fact, I think that a 4-star from the supports would have been better for them to try and move around. Wait a minute. There's a Spirit Vessel on Kotl and they Urn on Dazzle.
Oh yeah, you actually just mentioned this. Yeah, now that you mention that, so I did see the vessel earlier, and I was like, I'm not really sure what it's for, since they don't really have much sustain or outright heal on the side of WRG. But yeah, now that you mentioned it, they have both the vessel and the Urn. Not a great look, especially in the advent of not having 4-staff. In particular, normally we see these Dazzles rushing Aeon Disc, but nothing to help him actually be effective in these fights. The standard range of Shallow Grave is really short, because unfortunately, or well, actually fortunately for the Dota world, it's enjoyed many years of nerfs, so not nearly as strong as it used to be. So you need to actually get all of these items, unless they get like a very lucky neutral item for themselves, some Psychic Headband or something at tier 3. then they're going to be really stuck in a weird situation because Dazzle is not going to get the farm he needs, Shakey, to get those items that he's required for these fights.
And isn't Spirit Vessel and Urn counterintuitive? Like, doesn't it cancel each other out? Like, one of them gets a stack, what the other doesn't? If I'm not mistaken, if a death occurs into proximity, because it's the same. It's just the same. Yeah. So basically, by buying two of essentially the same item, they've denied either them the opportunity to get a stack. And I mean, for the investment into a Spirit Vessel, it's really important that they get all the stacks on that Spirit Vessel. And this Urn has 4 stacks, but the Spirit Vessel only has nothing. So
what's interesting about this is that according to the tooltips, right, this has always been one of these long-standing issues in Dota where the tooltip functions very differently than what the reality of the situation is. According to the tooltip, they should both get a charge. One for the Spirit Vessel and one for the Urn. But for the longest time, that hasn't been the case. I'm not sure if it is now. Maybe there's been, you know, to be fair, it's not that often that you find yourself in a game where you have both Spirit Vessel and Urn. As our Spirit Vessel fires up, he's dead.
Oh, Jace. You know what? I wanted to leave it, and I just thought to myself, he's going to get away, but I forgot.
No.
We have a Zeus in our midst. Yep. So, it's not a perfect world. And the tips fly through as well. I mean, I'm a position 4 player. I'm also someone that loves playing Invoke on position 4 because I just love its tool set, and I think that is a really great support at certain intervals or certain times. And I usually rage at people that buy Urns when Urn goes so well with Cold Snap. So now I'm seeing 2 supports with basically 2 Urns at some point in time. Eventually now it's a Spirit Vessel, and I'm just sitting going, So I would have, basically my thought is I would have liked to have seen more supportive item, maybe a Glimmer Cape, which is not really actually good against the Zeus, but maybe like a 4-staff or something that can just assist, you know, something that just can help this team find these important kills or disengage from these hectic fights.
I'm in full agreement, but to be fair, they have much bigger problems. They're losing control. They just lost the tier 1 bottom. Also, look where some of these wards are that WRG is playing. Very aggressively within the Dire Triangle, making sure there's no catch-up potential for the Alchemist, at least not easily. Once they take this tier 2 tower down in this bottom lane, then the natural places to play is around the triangle. Much lower space for the Alchemist to farm. Bristleback can clear out ancient stacks this side of the map quite easily. And you know for a fact that Punx not in a position where they can reliably invade your side of the ancients. They're doing so now because they see all of your heroes around the tier 2 tower. So look what Fatrix is doing. This is actually a very smart play between himself and the Dazzle here. They're recognizing that there's no other opportunity to get farm on this side of the map, and they're about to lose their own triangle. So this is the last time for quite a while that Alchemist will feel safe getting some ancients. So this is the right time to do it, whilst the tier 2 tower is still being protected by Jace. And if Jace dies, whatever, he's a support. Cool, you don't mind losing his life here. Worst case scenario, Jace dies. Best case scenario, which is what they actually ended up getting, is that you get the triangle, you get a tier 1 in the top lane, and you still get to defend the tier 2 down bottom. So very smart play coming in from Punx there, even in a very awkward situation.
It's quite interesting because was that a stack of WRG or was it the Dazzle stack?
They stole it,
They stole the stack. That is huge because that gives a blink. Because I was mentioning earlier, because what this Freitix actually needs to try and fight with the team early on is a Radiance BKB blink, and then obviously you go into maybe like an AC basher or whatever you want to do for damage or whatever sustain. And now this has put him in a position to buy the blink. He's gotten blink what makes him 10 gold, and that's gonna give him that catch, that full momentum to try and get themselves back into this game. So do you think maybe a bit of a blunder for not warding the place that you've just stacked your torch?
Dire's structures are fortified.
I don't think so. I think it's only situations where you can't ward everywhere. You're like, you have to try to get effective vision on some parts of the map, right? Dota's always a game of trade-offs. That is the kind of move. When you have like a tier 1 tower alive in the top lane, you still have tier 2 middle, you don't necessarily expect the enemy team to invade your triangle, but you know.
That Freitix, he's still gonna get connected by melee. He's popped the BKB, he's tried to get away, he's popped Unstable Concoction to try and just run away from melee. He pops the refresher just to get the vision on to Freitix, and he's gonna go down. And that was hectic. He popped BKB, he tried to run, he popped all just to get away, while bot lane, we get Tiny in a bit of a situation here as Saiga's run up front, he tosses them back. You get the shallow grave coming out from Dazzle as Astra jumps in to try to kill the kill on Phoenix, and he tries to dig between the trees, but he doesn't get the opportunity to get away as Psycho takes some seriously psychotic amount of damage from Tiger. And next one on the cutting board is going to be Tiger. It's going to be, Dazzle in himself, as this man just keeps stacking those goose stacks with his axe. And now Astra also takes, just look at this man. He doesn't leave him alone. Melee just stays on top of him, and you can't run away. There's no way for you to really disengage from that snare. I can't snare.
Is this the same Razor that just killed an alchemist in top jungle? Now him to kill off the court Dawnbreaker as well. All right, cool, good stuff. Melee power. Punx, allow this again. This cannot happen again. You have Dawnbreaker tiny opening too, but you're losing simply because of this first pick Razor. There's problems happening, man. This is a little bit too much.
We can say that though, because I think one of the biggest reasons why they're losing right now is the fact that this Razor completely dominated this Onyx lane.
Yep. Without the Razor doing what he did to prevent because think about it, we're 26 minutes into the game. Alchemist has only spent like a minute as the top net worth in the game right now. He's back on that particular perch at the moment, but very rare occasion that Alchemist is not allowed to really be in that pole position. And he's being denied firstly by the fact that, like you mentioned earlier, they lost the lane pretty hard. Then they lost all map control because of how hard they lost that lane. And then because of how strong this Razor is in the mid game, they're losing the game largely because they cannot really contest this Razor. Like when we think about the few occasions where Punx do well, it's usually very far away from where Razor is. Did Phoenix just one-shot Jace with Thundercross from the other side of the map? What?
I opened my mouth and I closed it again. That's not going to happen. Psycho. Now, lat shot from Willie straight up to Psycho. We've seen this happen before. BKB's going to get popped out. That's going to just push them back a bit as we see another BKB going to come out here from Tiger as these tier 3s and barracks fall in the bot lane for Punx. And 27 minutes in, tier 3 bot melee range barracks completely taken out. They're going to put their focus back, possibly on getting, I think, yeah, Rosh has also been taken a while ago. So that should be up. We should know what's going to be the timing in the next 15 seconds. But that focus is going to get put back onto the mid lane, Snare, and this is just going to be a rinse and repeat from WRG, surely.
Well, yeah, they have nothing in the tank right now on the side of Punx to try and dissuade this particular push. Jace is no longer strong enough with the Illuminate Blast. They have more than enough right-click damage between Tiger and Millibar to just outright beat down these barracks. Jace will try and buy time with the blinding light as well, but he's the only one that can actually do something.
Play from Psycho could be opportunity here. No BKB on Tiger as he just used it. They're going to get a millipart to jump in the back line, trying to get the connection onto Freitex, and he does get it indeed. The Unstable Concoction is going to connect onto the Bristleback, but it's not wrong because Freitex is going to get hunted down by Millie as the cookie does not connect on Jace, but they do get the Scatterblast slow. Dazzle tries to back away. Oh, the toss back from Psycho into the Founder. They might actually kill the Razor, but what?
He's fine, dude. He's fine.
He pops the Ghost Scepter.
Yep.
Oh, you know.
He pops the Ghost Scepter. He bought it during the toss.
GG.
What a player. While he's being tossed shaky, he's like, you know, here, let me just buy this one item. Then he's fine. He's cool.
And GG gets called out by Punx as this game is completely done. And WRG takes the first one in the series best of 3. And what a... I don't want to say it. Snare, we said Casters Curse and you said congratulations WRG, you've just won the game. And I hate to admit it, but I think we handed the game to WRG there, Snare.
All right, listen, to try to take some heat off of us, it's not our fault. It's not our fault. We aren't the ones that let Millipop play Razor. That's what happened. Honestly, this is one of the easiest games to analyze. Razor goes 15-2-8 in the game, right? Involved in the lion's share of his team's kills. On his team, right? This is the crazy thing as well. So check this out. Involved in the lion's share of the team's kills. Outside of Bristleback, he did the most building damage. He did the most hero damage on the entire freaking map. He had the most kills on the map. He tanked the second most amount of damage on his team outside of this Bristleback. Had the highest just everything you could possibly want out of a core hero, this Razor gave you. He just so happened to be playing from the off lane, but that's why this hero is so amazing to first pick. You can play from the off lane and still, if the game goes well enough, become a carry. And that's also frustrating, right? Even if they manage to kill Millipop, you still had to deal with Tiger. Tiger, because of how well Millipop did, he had a pretty free game playing on this Bristleback. Got his Axe, got his BKB, but it didn't feel like it really mattered because it frankly didn't. They can't really deal with Razor, and because you can't deal with Razor, look who's behind him, Shakey. There's Bipolar here throwing in Ice Blast, which we saw. We spoke about how good it could be in the draft versus Dawnbreakers versus Dazzle, and in the game we really saw how Dazzle did nothing really outside of like a couple of key Shadow Graves, but he couldn't get heroes back to like 50, 40, 60%. Alchemist found himself always dying through Chemical Rage. Dawnbreaker didn't even bother casting Ultimate, because why would you do that? What's the point? You're gonna just spend a few seconds not doing anything in the fight and then still not provide the necessary heal. But the reason these heroes are allowed to do such things on the Zeus, putting in this percentage-based damage, on the Snapfire, throwing in kisses, is because Milipop is just there in front, being like, here we go, BKB, Refresher, Double Eye of the Storm, let's go. Let's go. Just, this hero is nuts. Ban it. Punx, I loved your draft. I think you could have played a lot better, but the reason you lost is because this Razor is too good. Ban it, don't allow it to happen again.
I do want to add on to that as well, because if you look at the items that's been built out by the team of Punx and by the supports, I don't see a single 4-star. I see Blinks, I see Glimmer Capes against the Zeus. I see a lot of other items, but I don't see a 4-star. And I think if they had 4-star, I mean, one of the only items that can actually do well against a Razor that you can actually buy is a 4-star. If you want to just get that static link off, if you're a Kotal and your Alchemist is being lashed off by static link, you want to pop that 4-star on that Alchemist so you can get that distance away and get away as quickly as possible. And I just think that itemization lacked for them, and unfortunately just their general, I think probably communication in terms of where the Zeus was, and like you said earlier with his levels and what was happening on the map, but maybe leaving that lane a little bit earlier. But generally, well played to WRG, well deserved, really good game.
Yeah. Phenomenal game coming in from WRG, and it certainly is the case that they are feeling a little bit hard done by the fact that they're here in the lower bracket at all, Shakey. So they're trying to show us they don't belong here. They should have been in the upper bracket, but they're going to make the climb back. You know, it's also quite interesting because they know for a fact that this is not an opponent to take lightly. Punx has often gotten themselves into the top 6, have never in EGL history not been in that milieu, so you need to bring everything to the table to bring them down. So WRG, well-deserved victory. I hope and pray, though, that Punx in game number 2 can bring us some entertainment, give some content for the boy Shakey here, you know. We want some more of that. We want a third game. So let's hope that WRG can bring that to the table for us in game number... Oh, Punx, rather, can bring that to the table in game number 2 and bring down WRG one peg, just so we have a more competitive series. Of course, this is EGL One Season 3, sponsored by Dell and Intel. This is an elimination game. Loser of this goes out with a respectable 9-12 finish, but no one cares about 9-12. You're trying to get to the top number 1 spot. Let's see which team is going to be able to get themselves one step closer in game number 2 with myself, Snare, and the Lion of South African Esports, Shakey. We'll be right back here in EGL One. See you soon.
you're running free. You forced me to face that you're not around, and I'm learning how to fill this empty space. It's been over a year since we last talked. Never thought I'd be here, you calling me back up. Left a message to say you just wanna catch up. You left me broken. You act like I'm holding out after this time. That I still want you to be mine, as if I haven't moved on. 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 Made it so tough, was I not enough? Had no reasoning, all that's unsaid just plays in my head. You left so easily. It's been over a year since we last talked. Never thought I'd be here, you calling me back up. Left a message to say you just wanna catch up. You left me broken. You act like I'm holding out after this time. That I still want you to be mine, as if I haven't moved on. As if I haven't moved on. As if I haven't moved on. As if I haven't moved on.
Welcome back, one and all. We are returning to the gameplay here in EGL One Season 3, and this game is between White Rabbit Gaming and Punx. And this is a game that's quite important because Punx Interactive Gaming are now one game away from being eliminated from this third season of EGL 1. This would also represent their worst finish so far, having come 5th in the first season, 6th in the second. 9th, 12th certainly will not look like the best representation of their ambitions. However, their opponents in the side of WRG have come 4th in the first season and are feeling very hard done by coming all the way in 9th, 12th in season 2. They know the pain of being eliminated at the stage and they will not be wanting to go through it again. So let us hope though that Punx can give us a good game, but WRG will still show us the killer instinct they displayed in game number 1. Of course, to help bring you this action will be myself, Snare, as well as the homeboy Shakey, the lion of ZA Esports. Good sir, give me some hope, give me some good news. Make sure, give me the Costa's curse that allows Punx to come back into this game. So your job is to tell us just how great WRG actually is.
Look, WRG is winning this game, without a doubt. Millie on whatever position 3 is going to pick up, is going to be dominating the He's going to be showing exactly what he's made of. And it just looks like White Rabbit's in a position where they're proving us wrong around every single corner. We went into that game, both of us 100% agreeing that the draft of Punx was superior in every way. I saw in every single step, even though I'm a color caster, I could analytically dissect that entire lineup and think to myself, this and this and this is going to happen. This is what's going to happen at 15 minutes. This is going to happen at 25 minutes. And this is how Punx are going to end the game. And nothing that I thought would happen occurred at all. And that, me as a caster, made me feel inadequate. I'm not going to lie, Snare. So I think WRG is going to prove me wrong and right this time by me saying they're taking this. You see, they've let it through. They have let it through, and I don't think that I have ever been. Let's just go for casters curse. Obviously, I still want the best of 3, but. Yeah.
Okay. Here we are. Here's what's gonna happen, right? Here's what's gonna happen.
10 seconds
Punx saw in the first game. They were like, well, one of the issues was that we let this Razor just go completely out of control.
5 seconds
so how do we fix that going into game 2? There's 2 ways we can fix it, right? We can either make sure that we don't have a losing lane into the Razor, as we did in game number 1, especially with the way that they played on the Dazzle. I'm very surprised that we didn't see the Shallow Grave come until level 5. Given that it's a Razor playing, you have to know that you need that spell sooner. So they might just jettison the Dazzle in general, and then maybe get some more lane-orientated support. And then I think if they get like a range carry for the safe lane, it can maybe work out. Maybe.
Don't you think
I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, never mind. Dawnbreaker's banned. I wanted to say maybe White Rabbit should take the time to ban out to pick something like a Nyx. But it's the Dawnbreaker's been banned, so I don't think it's entirely. I've got a thing for you, Snare, and this is a very controversial thought, right? I don't want to look at the screen right now because I really like what I'm seeing right now. But I think all the Punx need to do against this Razor is the supports to buy 4-staff.
4-star, good item. Surprisingly good item. 4-star.
10 seconds.
I mean, we had
remaining.
one Glimmer Cape in the last game, but certainly some more mobility would not have gone amiss on the
5
supports. I think
seconds
Jace did buy
remaining.
Blink Dagger early on, but he went like Blink Spirit
Dire
Vessel.
team ban.
Wasn't really that effective on his Keeper of the Light. This is good though. This is nice.
Okay.
Them stealing away the Zeus. They see Pudge and they say, well, okay, Razor, whatever, is going to buy BKB. Pudge is going to be a little bit of time before he gets his own BKB. And more importantly is we spoke about this percent-based damage in the last game. Pudge
Radiant
primarily
team
functions
ban.
off of gaining a
Dire
lot of
team
HP down the
ban.
line. So percent-based damage just gets better against him as time
Radiant
goes on within the
team
game.
ban.
No, I like this idea. I like the fact
Dire
that I'm getting the
team
Zeus.
ban.
It's okay. I think it does really. We need to see where it's going to be played, right? Because WRG haven't revealed whether or not this Pudge is going mid or safe lane or off lane or support. Can do a lot of things this hero nowadays. I prefer him in the mid lane, but either way,
Radiant
he can buy
team
Blink
ban.
Dagger. So this Zeus doesn't necessarily have that like free and clear game where he's not that concerned about getting caught out, because you can get caught by this Pudge. But by and large, I still like the idea of the Zeus, and we saw in the last game how much overall global damage was provided by Sage Juice on the side of WRG. So now at least they have that for
Radiant
themselves on the
team
side of
pick.
Punx. So when they get heroes very, very low,
Dire
I know that
team
moment where
pick.
Bristleback was on like 100 HP. Now he actually dies in this game with the Zeus.
Well, I'm interested to see how this is gonna go off, because that's 9% on your shard on 2k health with level 25 Zeus. You're looking at about 400 damage on
10
Arc Lightning with that
seconds
plus
remaining.
100 damage that you've got just off of a 2k health
5
player.
seconds
So
remaining.
Pudge obviously has more. That's more. So your Arc Lightning with shard at level 25 does more damage than your level 2 ult on a
Naturally, on normal
That-
hero,
yeah,
Yes.
on something that's got about 2,000 health on it. Which, I mean, at level 25, there are a lot of heroes that's got over 2k health. So, Pudge, not really renowned for having a lot of armor. He does obviously have some natural magic resistance, but I do think that Zeus is, in my opinion, I think he's going to be able to deal with Pudge a fair bit if he keeps his distance. But like you said, Blink on Pudge, gets on top of the Zeus with an Ags, and then Ether Lanes. So Eternal Shard, that's a rough one, eh? What do you think of this jug?
Zeus-
I haven't seen a jug get picked up in a while.
I actually love this Jug pick in this game. Jug has been one of the better heroes in my opinion against Zeus. Zeus is one of these very annoying heroes that, especially when you're playing in the safe lane, once Zeus hits level 6, you feel very awkward, right? Because the enemy team plays with absurd aggression into you, and even if you survive the aggressive play, you still die to the Zeus all across the map. You can't really do that with the Juggernaut because he just spins TPs out. He is the kind of hero that's not unhappy to buy Blink Dagger either. So he can just jump into the fight, get off a GG slash onto the Zeus, who can't really do too much about it. And just generally speaking, I think that this Juggernaut hero, I like heroes right now in the meta that are good without items, right? They just need levels to be very good and a couple of items to
10
be amazing.
seconds remaining.
Razor is a very good example of this. He just needs like what? Level 10 BKB and he's the best
5
hero in the map, like
seconds
just bar
remaining.
none. Juggernaut in many regards just needs like 2 farming items and then he's just really good. Once he hits level 12, just feels super strong on the map. And what's amazing is that like all the items you want to be buying on Juggernaut these days also work very well into his toolkit. So I like the Jug pick, and also like the fact that when you look at the rest of the draft, they don't have that much sustain just yet for the safe lane. I think you need some sustain to be very good in the safe lane. Winter Wyvern's been stolen away from them, but even if you get Winter's Curse during spin, look at these other heroes, Razor Pudge. No one else does major right-click damage, and if you're the one that gets cursed into them, you should realistically never be near Razor or Pudge in the team fight. But if you're near Pudge, you're unlikely to kill him during the duration of Winter's Curse.
Radiant
Razor, okay,
team
that's a
pick.
different story, but you should never be near the Razor anyway in the fight. So it feels like you can play very different zones of the team fight with these 3 heroes. I like it a lot.
I like Winter Wyvern. I think it's one of the best supports in the game.
Dire
I think it
team
offers
back.
an insane amount. Especially, like, I think throughout every single meta, Winter Wyvern has been a kind of steadfast, like, support that offers a lot. Not necessarily in lane. In lane's got obviously good amount of sustain, good harass. But once it starts getting into late game, the amount of
10
times that a Winter
seconds
Wyvern can
remaining.
turn around a
Radiant
game
team
instantly
back.
is insane. I think it can
Dire
really
team
control the
back.
pace, and it's fantastic against a lineup that's very much based on AoE like abilities, something like a Tide Hunter or Enigma or stuff like that. So I love Winter Wyvern, even though they don't have a lot of AoE here. I do think that it's going to be difficult for the Razor to really get on top of any cores while the Winter's
10
still alive.
seconds remaining.
This Weaver though, I like this Grimshield feels like kind of
5
like a
seconds
good,
remaining.
not a counter in a way to this Weaver. Do you agree? I feel like that Soulbind can work really well as a combo to try and get a hold of this high mobility hero.
Weaver hates being
Radiant
soulbound in
team
general,
back.
but the spell that he really hates is going to be the Phantom's Embrace coming in from the Grimstroke. So being silenced up as Weaver generally is a death sentence. So it's going to be interesting to see him play around that. The big thing that's quite interesting about this Grimstroke is that it gives them a preposterously strong lane. Juggernaut Grimstroke, from when the hero was introduced into Captain's mode in the
10
Grim,
seconds
this
remaining.
was been the combo duo. It's just so strong. You get the Inkswell combo
5
out with the
seconds
spin.
remaining.
There's just an absurd amount of magic damage, a stun. Once Juggernaut hits level 6, it's a guaranteed kill in the lane as well, not just muscling you out with a high probability of a kill happening. So I love this Grimstroke pick. The Weaver, I think the Weaver, for me, is a very temperamental hero right now. I think there's a lot of occasions where the Weaver's like, oh my god, it looks like such a good hero. But I think, we're just talking about this now, the heroes that are very good with just levels, not needing a bunch of items. Weaver needs all of them.
Team
Like, if you ask what must I buy as Weaver? Yes,
Everything.
build that. But
Yes.
it's just not effective in the game, And speaking of effective, everybody at home, while we're talking about what's going to be effective in the game, what's going to be effective item-wise, all of y'all can get some effective luckiness getting for yourself. So if you type in
10
EGL1,
seconds
all
remaining.
small caps, just once, EGL1, enter yourself into a lucky
5
draw,
seconds
and we're going to be
remaining.
giving away some Evetech Stealth Gaming Glasses tonight. We did so last week as well, and our winner,
Radiant
very happy with the
team
haul that he received. So get yourself in that review, get yourself in that hype. Make sure that you are a winner as well. And Punx trying to make themselves winners too here, Shakey. They get Slaughter for the lane against Juggernaut. Not they realize maybe winning the off lane is the key to winning a game like this.
I agree with you. I think I
10
haven't,
seconds
again, another
remaining.
hero that I haven't seen get picked up a lot. I think the top 10 of
5
picks, it
seconds
doesn't really get,
remaining.
we're looking at like Tiny, Marcy, Beastmaster, Winter, Zeus, Invoker, Bristleback. And I think in this EGL, if I just look at off the bat, if I just look at the statistics, I don't see Slaughter being picked up. I think it's been picked up once before. It's not
Once,
really.
yeah.
It's like I'm having to scroll to see when it like. What do you think of this hero in the meta right now? Obviously, it falls in the bracket of strength, but I feel like it's always been in like a really weird. It's been like nerfed and buffed and been pushed around a lot in the meta. Where do you think it really stands right now?
It's sort of one of these, this hero sort of feels to me like Night Stalker nowadays.
Select your
Where
heroes.
he's supposed to dominate the lane and then go on to become like the sort of pseudo core throughout the game itself, where the hero doesn't necessarily feel uber effective unless he's allowed to get a lot of farm and get off to a strong start in the game. The reason I think that we often don't see Slaughter is that sometimes you need team fight initiation, but you don't necessarily need a hero that's going to uber skate into the game. You need like some push potential. You don't need like lane domination, or rather there's better lane dominators in the game. You mentioned some of them like the Beastmaster. Slaughter is great against heroes like... Actually, the reason you don't see Slaughter that much is for similar reasons that you mentioned earlier, that you don't see Juggernaut that much. The more you see Juggernaut, Lifestealer, these sort of heroes, the more you're also going to see Slaughter, because Slaughter dominates them in the lane. These heroes, plus like anti-mage or whatever, can't actually be played into the lane versus Slaughter. And of course, later into the game, one thing he's really great at is he synergizes quite well with heroes like the Weaver, who have like double hit mechanics. So once you get the corrosive haze onto somebody, the amount of damage that comes in from Weaver is obscene. I think he functions best with heroes like Jug, Weaver, who can hit you multiple times in a single instance, so that you multiply the impact of having corrosive haze on a target. Under the right circumstances, where he can both dominate the lane, enable his carry player, and become like an effective pseudo/tertiary core in the game, then he is one of the best. Unfortunately, it's not always that you find yourself in a situation where you need one hero to do all three of those things, because if he's not doing all three of those things, the hero kind of sucks. But if he is doing all three of these things, which in this game, I see a Juggernaut he's beating, I see a Weaver he's enabling, I see a team that he's able to start fights for in tandem with Jace, he is doing those things. So this is the best kind of position to be picking Slaughter in. yet again, I'm in this awkward position here, Shakey, where I love what Punx is doing with their draft, but I'm not entirely confident that I think they have what it takes to win with said draft, given that there is a high degree of execution to make this one work versus game number 1, though.
I do agree with you on that one, and I love your explanations on the whole Slaughter and how it fits in the meta. I don't think I would have been able to do that any better. I think it does. I didn't even think about it that way. With the Weaver, it's going to be really good for them, especially with the armor reduction. Pudge, I know, is really horrible with armor, so that's going to be good for them to set that down. I'm keen to see where this goes early game. I don't think this is as clear cut as we saw first in the first game. But like it is definitely a more rounded team composition for Punx. They are going to have to play together much more than they did in the first time, just like you mentioned as well. Whereas I feel like with WRG, they got all these individual strong heroes that individually are strong, and then together they kind of like even stronger. Like if they play around each other and they just do the job that they need to do, I think that it's going to be a very, very fun team fights that's going to happen.
In a very complimentary way, WRG has a brain dead draft. It requires zero thinking to make this work.
Yeah.
Like you just play this normally, like what the idea should extend for you. But like Punx, they need to play together, the team, like you're mentioning. They need to make sure that they get the right Roshan timers as well. That's another aspect of Slaughter where he feels a little bit lackluster if you're unable to control the Roshan objective. So they need to do that. They need to make sure they get some decent items for the Zeus, because it turns out they want to be playing support Zeus, because look who's going middle. FICO Damage is playing the Winter Wyvern. So they are a little bit concerned about what we were talking about earlier with the Pudge being able to play into the Zeus. So they're like, well, let's completely avoid that issue by putting the Zeus into a more support role. That does mean yet again that the degree of execution, very, very high. On the bright side though, if FICO Damage has a good game, this core Wyvern honestly demolishes this game. Like no cap, my friend. Like it owns everybody. There's no counter to this on the side of WRG.
Top. The hook lands from Millie, connects onto Jace, he gets the top up in the air. But we see actually, he's just gonna...
Oh my god.
Okay. I mean, that's one way to start the game. And they're gonna tip him as well. So we see a swap around. We saw previous game Millie on the Razor. Now we see Millie actually on the Pudge. So now the mantle has been passed down to his teammate, Billy, to support him on the Pudge and ensure that he has a good lane, which I like. Because my next question, good toss from Jace, good damage. But so my next thing was the Weaver was obviously picked to counter the Razor because mobility is really good for the static link. And now they've swapped it around, put the Razor on support, put the Pudge, and the Pudge doesn't really matter. He just kind of hooks you. Once he gets 6, he gets the slow with his rot as well. Do you think this is a better move? I quite like the fact that they've swapped it around. I didn't think Punx accounted for that.
I don't think Punx accounted for the Razor going support, but I think it weirdly enough makes their game a lot easier for Punx. You know, we were talking earlier in the draft about how some of these heroes, they function way better with levels than items.
Yeah.
The fact that Billy's playing support now on this Razor, he's not going to really be allowed to accrue as many levels as he would ideally want to. And when that starts to happen to a hero like the Razor, it's not necessarily that he feels weak, he just doesn't feel as impactful as he could have been otherwise. I'm kind of shocked by this, especially considering that this is going to be this mid-winter Wyvern. The way you help deal with this Wyvern is to try and just like overwhelm her. The fact that now they're going to be having the two heroes that are most effective against her in the Razor and the Pudge, both playing in the same side of the map, not getting as much farm as they could be otherwise. We're going to be delaying the point of the game where this Winter Wyvern is going to have aggression coming towards her. And to make matters worse, Zeus also has a much easier time now as a result. Razor, he's fine, he's not gonna die.
It should be fine. Just kind of like the big hook from Millie while he's busy last hitting as well, just to put some added aggression onto Jace, saying, "Hey, you don't touch my support. I'm gonna put pressure on you as well, and eat away at your regen." So, one thing I also didn't expect is this Kotl to go mid, and I've seen Kotl's mid. Obviously, it's something that's not really new right now, but. Is it true that Winter Wyvern does generally better against physical damage than against magical damage due to the fact how her Cold Embrace works?
The main thing with these mid Wyverns these days is that like you want to make sure that you have the reason Wyverns win all these matchups these days is that like you always have the advantage in clearing out these waves, and that's not always the case versus Coddle. I think of like all the adjustments that they did make in the drafting phase coming into this is the one I like the most. Like putting this Coddle middle instead of maybe the Pudge is a really, really good idea. Everybody else would have been eaten alive by the Winter Wyvern mid, so this is a phenomenal plan. If they do end up winning this game, I think it's gonna come largely off of the back of Phoenix from this mid lane, providing space and time while Tiger is still just hyper farming on his Juggernaut.
I like it. I like looking at a draft and seeing how they even surprise the casters with different things. And if we genuinely pleased about what's happened, I can't imagine how both of these teams are looking at this lineups once they walk into the lane and go, oh wait, I didn't expect you to be here. So it's nice to see them kind of like adjust and move around. And both these teams are doing a pretty good job of that. Yeah, I think that's not much more to say about that.
The one worry I have though, Shakey, do you remember the TI-10 qualifiers in Western Europe? I want to say game 3 or game 4. Nigma versus OG. And Nigma decided to play Kuroki, Pos5, Razor. And it was awful. It was not good. The one thing I'm encouraged by the fact that they recognize that you can't put this Razor on Pos 4. You have to put him on Pos 5 rather. You have to put him on Pos 4 at least to get some farm. But I'm a little bit concerned about his progression in this game. But you know, they gave us some nice surprises in game 1 from the side of WRG. So we shall see. Maybe Milipa will just go God mode again. Never miss a hook this entire game. So far he's 2 for 2 though. Hasn't missed just yet. So
yeah, he's swishing those shots in. But to touch on what you said, I do remember a game kind of like that, and the Razor kind of was a bit lackluster. He just got rolled over really easily, didn't really have a lane. But interesting on the Razor position 4, if this Razor is allowed to get a decent amount of levels, I think because Razor is naturally an anti-hero, it could be a good way to try and disengage the Weaver off of a core. So instead of using a typical stun, Razor, like he's doing right now, is going to connect with a static link onto Jace, trying to push him away. But Jace does throw back the Pudge. They do get the vision. Solve's going to get popped out. It's going to immediately get denied by Billy. He does have the finish. No hook potential because the creeps have decided to follow suit. But it doesn't matter because Billy does have the damage from that static link as he gets the kill. And that is true for WRG. So that's what I meant. Like, there's this kind of like forcing them to run away almost just by the fact that I'm stealing your right click. Do you think that might be a good thing for those shades in this lane?
Oh, in the lane, yeah, certainly. Especially against the Tiny, because Tiny support literally does nothing against Razor, as we just saw being demonstrated in the top lane. This Weaver can get away, can time-lapse eventually, but doesn't really contest the heroes. He more so just prevents them from asserting their advantage in the lane. Either way, though, they pretty much have a free time. You can even see that being reflected in the CS as the Pudge well ahead of this Weaver right now. Not presenting him with much opportunity to come back. Bottom, we have the combo.
Oh, big hook though, top lane as well. I see the bottom combo, sorry. As I do think that camera combo probably went back and forth. But a nice little hook from Millie landed on Freitix, as we saw a nice combo from Tiger. And his support bipolar landing that kill onto the Slardar. And this is exactly what you said. As soon as Grimstroke came into Captain's mode, into the scene, it was allowed into the meta of competitive, it immediately sat. I think it kind of replaced the generic CM jug, where it's now Grimstroke jug.
Top lane, FICO damage plus rotation.
Yeah, Jace is going to come top, but he's going to connect with a static link. He's going to toss him back, does not disrupt the static link. They do get the damage. Millie's going to offer the TP away, but there is the ult. There's the disruption for the Winter's Curse that we were waiting for, as we see Bipolar trying to help out the team with a rotation of himself. But it wasn't enough. And a great play from Psycho, helping his team secure 2 kills, and just happily goes mid.
Ooh, a little bit of BM being dropped there by Jace, dropping the question mark after those kills. Ooh. Okay. Feels like he's a little bit salty about the occurrences of game number 1, but alright.
I think he's also salty with the fact that he got just left, didn't really get killed, and then they tipped him. So I think he's just like, hey, you wanted to tip me, so here you go. Question mark.
This will also see the emergence of one of the weaknesses of this mid Coddle, is that this hero is as static as they come for a large portion of the game. He literally cannot make moves for like quite some time. He's going to be able to sit middle, keep blasting out these waves, prevent the Winter Wyvern from putting any reasonable advantage into his own tier 1, but by and large, Winter Wyvern can make those kind of moves to the top lane whenever the ultimate is available, but the Coddle cannot. In fact, as soon as FICO Damage has the Curse available again, I wouldn't be surprised to see him make a movement to the top lane. He's going for this Witchblade, and it's much easier as Winter Wyvern to get some of these kills happening, and that gives you the bonus gold. But that being said, I'm looking at how these heroes are stacked up, and doesn't seem like a favorable scenario for the way Punx wants to move. Jace is in the jungle getting stacks. Bottom lane, they do not want to move the Slaughter as he's building up towards the Blink, so FICO Damage may go bottom, but I think you might as well just sit middle, finish the Witchblade, and then try and make a bigger move after that.
I see that WG did commit miss hook opportunity from Millie. I think that's the first one, yeah, top lane. But I think so. WG committed 2 supports to this top lane. As we do see Grim TP mid to try and help with Phoenix. Phoenix actually gets the heal from his own abilities. As we see a Phantom Spirit come out, all the psycho damage still gets the kill onto him. He's gonna go for the Inkswell, but does not connect on Jace. As Jace is allowed to run away. He doesn't have mana for TP. They don't have vision on him, and he pops another question mark. As he's allowed to kind of just sit here and wait while he regens mana.
The BM, I love it personally. This
very good. Top lane. Oh, Mini with this prediction.
Weaver's so good. Weaver's so good against Punch for this exact reason. Like there's an instance of stun, or the instance of like when you blind hook and you don't have full vision for the full combo for hook into dismember shift queued. There's a slight instance where as Weaver you can always get the time lapse off. And Freetrix showing us that little bit of moment so he can get himself to safety, and that's going to keep happening throughout this game.
Indeed so. So what I would obviously that moment has come to pass, but they committed 2 supports top lane, and the Zeus and the Slaughter was left bot, and they didn't put pressure on at all on Tiger. Like at all. They didn't Astra didn't try and right click him down, get a stun down to at least allow Zeus, because I see he's taken 2 into Lightning Bolt, to at least get some serious damage down from his abilities. Tiger was just left alone in this bot lane to get enough farm, and as we look at the last hit shot, he's sitting at 49. I mean, he's 2 behind the Slaughter. Ooh, a little bit of action bot lane. As we say, Jace has come to rotate, though doesn't do a lot of damage to Bipolar. He's going to get the Inkswell. Here comes the Phantom's Embrace. We do see the Heavenly Jump's going to slow Bipolar, but it doesn't really help for Tiger because he's still spinning around and around as Jace goes down. Billy's going to come in as well as another support takes down the Zeus, and they've been able to clear up 2 kills and pretty good rotations here from WRG.
Phenomenal rotations, and this pretty much goes back onto the point that you were making now, the fact that Astra and the crew were not applying pressure onto Tiger, which is very atypical, right? I'm looking at this Astra Slaughter, and he's sitting with 4 points into the Bash of the Deep. This is usually the tool you use to completely harass the Juggernaut out of lane, and Bipolar spent a decent amount of time in that top lane. Without him, Juggernaut should have been completely bounced out of bottom, but because he isn't, that enables the tier 1 to stay alive longer, enables the rotation we just saw coming in now, enables them to push closer into the opposing tier 1. The entire game just changes because of that, and like exactly like you mentioned, those are a couple of seconds in the top lane where everyone else is at. Astra should have been applying more pressure bottom, but perhaps he didn't feel like he could anymore because Juggernaut was too strong, but he should have at least made the token attempt, even with a big creep wave to try and bounce around these GG slashes. So this actually helps a lot because this delays the Blink Dagger as well.
Yeah, and for me, thinking about this lineup, ooh, here comes the Inkswell. Phantom's Embrace going to come through as well, going to connect. Here comes also the slash from Jug as it connects onto onto Astra, and he gets taken out by Tiger. And this is where I think Punx has missed an opportunity, in my opinion, is that the Slaughter, like you said, maxed out his Bash of the Deep, which is so good. If he saw that the Grimstoke was top lane, he could have, before I finish my thought, here's a smoke from Punx. They're going to try and turn this back. Bipolar's going to take some serious damage. As Psycho's going to come in, he still has that ult available. Psycho's going to go for the TP, but no. Sorry, Astra's going to go for the TP. He's not going to be able, Tiger's not going to go for the... I couldn't even speak, I'm busy coughing, I couldn't even get the name right. As Psycho gets the freeze, excuse me, and the Winter Curse, and that's going to help them secure those 2 kills. I was quite surprised that they actually were able to get that, and a good play by them, definitely good play. Sorry.
You know, we were critiquing Punk's last game for a lack of communication, right? This time around, it's the side of WRG that made a very strategic blunder there. They were missing off the map for quite some time. Top though, nice hook! Is this a kill? Oh, it is. This time he had vision. We were talking about it, that if you hook blind, catch him, then try dismember, you can always use a time lapse. But not only did he get him hook clear in vision, also no time lapse available. Still on cooldown. The spell has been nerfed over the years. Doesn't necessarily enjoy the same degree of mobility at level 1, so...
Excuse me while
is massive.
Excuse me while I just cleared my throat there for a second. Yeah, what a big hook, what a big play, and they actually killed off the Weaver. You said that it was a minute chance. Oh, toss out from Tiger straight onto Psycho damage. And the Psycho, as he still spins, Tiger kind of weighing out his options. He's got DD available. Evesports going to come through. That is the heal that they wanted from the Connell in the back, as Jace is now the next one onto the hit list as Bipolar, and Jace cleans up the kill with a beautifully timed Illuminate. But that's gonna be unfortunate. It is a support down. Psycho damage still available with that DD. Rikers is gonna come through. They do get the vision with the Zeus.
Wow.
As like you've mentioned, if this Winter Wyvern gets farm in this lane, it is going to be very difficult for them to deal with it.
Yep. Falco damage can eat them all alive. Very nice kill in this mid lane. We do see the impact of the Zeus showing up, throwing in the Thunder God's Wrath from bottom. It is a little bit peculiar this game, though. I just realized something about the Zeus. Because Zeus is 4, it does mean that Tiny is going to stay very, very poor as a 5 position. So that's going to delay the blink. Top lane, though, Slaughter might die.
Well, they do have the ult. They do have the Dismember from Millipop, as well as the entire combo coming out from these 2 supports as well of WRG as they get the kill on Slaughter. Just like you mentioned. And a little lol from Tiger.
No?
Lol?
Okay. Alright, mates. Sure.
Okay, cool.
What's happening this game? Actually?
I don't know. I feel like, you know what? It's all fun and games, and I think a good amount of banter is always healthy. So it's good that these 2 teams are at it. We spoke earlier about what is at stake between these 2 teams, and they both know that whoever gets in the other person's head, they win the game. So if they are able to win, that means they are the ones that's going to move on to the next stage in this competition, and surely that is going to be yeah, it's going to be the deciding factor. So I do think both these teams are attempting to somewhat pull an OG on their teammates, if I would say.
You know, we're trying to explain, me and one of my friends, an old hand in the scene, somebody named Saint D, y'all might know him. We're trying to explain to some of our friends about the concept of BM and why it's necessary, why you must try and tilt your opponent. Because we're watching the rugby, right? And during the haka, I was like, not the South Africans should do. They should start just like dancing during the haka, doing like dumb moves, just to tilt them. Just like scream.
I think that would cause a lot of people, entitled people, to find that as not funny. But I would be in the crowd going, yes, we need to get some South African speedos so we can get that. While we're talking a lot of nonsense, they do get a kill onto Jace yet again in the mid lane. And I do not think there's another question mark coming out. No.
He's gonna lay low for now. So he'll be like, okay, y'all got me.
My man's going to come out and get one of the biggest avalanche toss combos in life, and the question marks are going to fly into the old chat.
Zeus needs to run away, though. He might get killed here.
He's got Heavenly...
What a stupid ability.
Yeah, Heavenly Jumpers. I mean, is it?
Yeah, it's pretty silly.
Yeah,
I think it's silly as an E. If it was the back to the shard like it used to, I'm not like too sad about it, but as an E. That should not be allowed, dude. This is a bottom net worth Zeus farming on your side of the map in between a tier 2, and he just hops into the high ground and TPs out. What madness is this?
I mean, you know, it's funny you mentioned, because when there was a shard, no one pulled shard on Zeus. No one, because you thought, why would I want that? It was basically the same as sniper shard. You're like, it's very, very situational. And I'm going to stop myself as bot lane. Astro is going to try and back away. Phoenix does pop out the slow. He does get the solar bind as Astro gets the stun, but I don't think he's got enough to be able to save himself from this engagement, as Jace still no blink, but 1,000 away. Bipolar, Jace doing the tango, and that is going to be it for him. TP out as well. Do we see... Are we going to wait for it? Is he going to... No, it's not going to come.
No, it doesn't have it, yeah.
There's no question, well, unfortunately.
Well, past the point of the game as well with Phoenix, where he is a static hero. He's very, very hyper-mobile. At this point, pretty much max movement speed. Always going to be in the spirit form. Has the bots. Kaya's already at the ready, building into the E-Blade right now on top of the Aether lane. So his ability to influence these fights from afar is pretty substantial.
Bot lane, Astro on the Slaughter, gets a stun of Billy, needs one more hit. That
run that.
plasma field is going to give him the slow necessary. You see the Zeus coming. Here comes the toss on the back as well. Phantom's Embrace is going to connect though. They do get the Soul Bind. It's going to connect both on the Tiny and the Slaughter as he do get the bash in the deep. Millipop's going to say no. He does going to get the Dismember. Hawk is going to connect as well. But here comes Psycho. He has the Winter's Curse available. He's going to get it on the Kotal, but the Kotal's a bit too tanky for him to deal with as he takes some serious damage. The right click though going to come near from the Arctic Burn as he slowly goes down. He gives the heals necessary for his team as Phoenix just does the work. Millipop's going to go for the kill on FICO as they clean up the woodwork with Punx.
And Billy dropped a question mark as well in the midst of the fight there, Shakey. He understood what was up. Dude, why? Jace actually griefed his entire team there. Like, him tossing forward the Slaughter there, that was a death sentence to begin with for the Slaughter. And the entire team looks around, right? They look at the situation, they're like, well, we can't really allow the Slaughter to start falling behind. You know, I was mentioning that he's very similar to Night Stalker in many regards. Yes. One of the reasons he's also similar to that hero is that he's never allowed to have these dead portions of the game where he's not progressing in farm and experience. And him getting tossed forward, they're like, well, if he doesn't win this fight, that means we delay the BKB. Okay, we have to help him. Bottom though.
Jump, exactly the same. Dismember on. He does have, but you know, Phantom's Embrace. Sorry, I thought he's going to be able to get out of that. But the point you made earlier, that Phantom's Embrace is not what you want to have on Weaver. That's just completely stopped him from being able to get out of that.
Well, he gets stunned up, killed. Dude, that Phantom's Embrace as Weaver, before you get anything to help you deal with it, like, he's very far away from having BKB, so he's just hating life. Middle though, they might actually control. Jesus dead.
Yeah, look at the amount of control they have over the Tiny here in the jungle. They don't get that Plasma Field to connect though, but they do get the Solar Bind to slow him off. As he keeps running, they're going to latch on. Whoa, it's not going to get enough range though on that toss. That's it on there with a static link, and they clean up their kill. You were mentioning earlier with the Tiny and the Tiny being almost like the same as the Night Stalker. What do you? I think you were still finishing that thought.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, like, if you start losing out on farm, you're not getting your progression and gold to the top. They might actually kill Tiger. Is Tiger dead? So. No, he's fine. He's fine.
Leave him, yeah.
This is part of the issue, right? Is that because this Astra...
sorry. Punch just landed a disrespectfully clean hook on the Zeus.
That's disrespectful. Yeah, that was actually sheer disrespecting. Onto the dude, he hooked high ground with no vision. What a player. All right, cool. So basically, the long and short of it is, because I know if I try to make a point, they're gonna fight and kill each other.
That's basically it.
Needs BKB. His team realizes that they can't fight without him having BKB, so they try to defend him wherever he goes. And as a result, if he gets them into a bad situation, or if he gets tossed forward by Jace, the entire team feels like they have to follow up, because if they don't, the hero that's going to be instrumental to them being able to dish out damage ends up dying and not progressing in the game. I mean, dude, he's level 11 right now. We don't even have the second point into the corrosive haze, and that doesn't just implicate him, right? Remember, they didn't just pick this for one combination. They picked this to make Freightrick stronger, and because Weaver is not having the best game ever, the lack of Slaughter having levels means Weaver lacks damage.
And just like you say, like clockwork, Slaughter gets jumped on by Millie as he goes down with the combination of this Kotal and Pudge, just mid lane completely destroying that poor Slaughter. But I think we're at a point now where isn't there something something we can remind the chat about, Snare? You're pretty good at telling people about these things, but I think I've kind of lost thought.
The first thing we need to remind the chat about is that if you're playing Captain's Mode, for the love of God, either first pick or ban Razor. Do not allow this to happen. And the second thing is that if you want to make sure that as you're watching this game and you're seeing the pain that Punx is currently enduring, that you do not allow them to toil in vain, you want to be able to watch this in the clearest vision possible, not let your eyes miss a single second of the action. And the easiest way to do that, enter EGL One in chat to make sure that you earn yourself a pair of Evetech Stealth Gaming Glasses. They will allow you to witness this carnage in the purest quality without your eyes being hurt. And Jace does end up dying, but you know, would have been easier to stomach watching that kill if you had yourself a pair of Evetech Gaming Stealth Glasses. So please type in EGL1 only once. If you've entered yourself already, do not enter again. But we'll be announcing a winner of those a little bit later. And the way the things are looking though, Shakey, it looks like it's not going to take us much longer to announce WRG as winning this game, because they've gotten themselves this Aegis and are looking hella strong on the map right now.
No, Snare. We've been here. We've crossed this bridge before. We've made predictions, and I think it's kind of stung us in the last one. But I do agree with you on that prediction. I do think that WRG is at a point where we are standing comfortably. And I think, speaking about these amazing glasses, I think that Millie has to wear them on this Podge. Because he has to have some sort of bionical hardware hack that he's got clicked onto his head. And as I talk about it, he's jumped onto Jay's top lane. Jay's is going to get the avalanche, but there's no way to really toss him. He's going to put it onto the rangekeeper's back while Billy comes around, gets the latch on. They do get, but he hooks.
Wow.
What? Like,
Okay.
I mean, this man just doesn't care about the Winter's Curse. He hooks around it, still grabs his Jace. And I'm surprised he's not the one popping question marks right now.
Yep. They don't feel the need to pop these question marks. Look at him jump forward onto Zeus as well.
This man is fearless. This man is this guy is he just barely misses another one. They don't have that Winter's Curse. 50 seconds left on that ability while this top barracks and tier 3 is being sieged by WRG as they are in the run to completely knock out Punx in this game. We are sitting in the second game in a best of 3 while this tier 3 slowly falls. A Pudge hook is going to be missed by Millie as Tiger takes some serious damage, and we see hopefully a team fight should occur, and that setup was for nothing.
Yeah, it's fine. They still have the healing ward there. They are going to back off because of the easier target in this mid lane on the tier 2 tower, and they don't have infinite time remaining on this Aegis. They're also seeing some of the other ways not being in the most favorable position because Astra has done the right thing of moving bottom, trying to force out that wave while he picks up the BKB. But ultimately, though, it is still Punx playing very, very deep onto their side of the map. I mean, we're seeing actually with the Zeus exactly why Punx made the decision to move Zeus from a core to a support. Because once Paja's blink just gets on top of you and it's like, now what, buddy? What? Nothing. Oh, that's exactly what I thought. You're dead. You just die every single time. So, this game sucks. You know why this game also sucks? Because at the end of the day, they have safe lane Weaver, dude. What has Weaver accomplished this game? Honestly, like he's 0-2 and 3, but his impact is not going to be felt for at least another 2 items or 10 minutes, whichever comes first. Either way, we're like 10,000 gold away from this Weaver having any kind of impact in this game. And unfortunately, in that time period, WRG can do whatever the hell they want because who are they afraid of? It's only really FICO damage with Winter Wyvern Curse. That's somewhat scary, but outside of that ability, WRG can literally do whatever they want on the map right now.
I agree with you. And this Pudge is just showing, I mean, he doesn't even have Ags yet. He doesn't even have Ags yet. And this is where he's sitting right now. I think on his career right now, he's got BKB on its way. He doesn't need Ags at this point in time. He's got his team to back him up. He's got everything that he needs. Billy's got BKB and drums. He's got insane amount of movement speed. Tiger's already sitting with a Mjolnir. And his Manta also quick on the heels as well. And I mean, if you were Punx right now, what would you change? Right? Would you look at maybe engaging in a different way, maybe smoking up and backing around them? What would be your thought process if you were to be like a coach or whatever, or even a player for Punx right now?
My first thought is, why the hell did we pick Weaver? But then, beyond that, the struggle is real because they're actually trying to do the right thing. Jace is making a nice big move here, but he's going to get caught. Because WG requires... The only move they can make, right, is to have Jace, honestly, like, this is not even capped. There's only 2 moves they can make right now. Asta and Jace need to either initiate from the backlines or Jace must toss somebody into the base so they can initiate from that perspective. Unfortunately, WRG also realized that that's the only natural move they can make. And they're never going to move Astra outside of the base to make that longer jump because he just picked up BKB. When you make that kind of jump, you're anticipating that you're going to die 100%. And it would be too much investment for them to throw in the BKB buyer to die as well. Because right now, outside of this Weaver, is the only BKB buyer. But Weaver is not an effective frontliner, so they need this BKB on the slaughter to actually soak up damage on the front portion of the fight. So Jace was trying to do the only thing they could do. He gets caught and killed. The only other thing I could maybe see them doing is once they get this FICO damage Blink Dagger, they can use that as their new initiation tool. But either way, they need to do something drastic right now. They're going to do that with a potentially last-ditch smoke.
Yeah, while you just said that, they popped the smoke. It's like they almost know exactly what the Costas is saying. And they are going to move towards this mid lane as they look for opportunity to get a kill. They're going to spot out there. You're going to use that ult from Zeus. They spot out the Grimstock. He's going to come down. Hook is a little bit too north as the blink does come out from Melee as he tries to run away. Freitix still up the front line. Astra trying to run and trying to siege and find any information. But it kind of, like, Punx is running at WRG, but they're just still sitting in the trees, still looking for opportunity. 3 of Punx still smoked up. As we wait for some sort of engagement, Jace, they do get the ward on the high ground as they are pinging Billy. But no attempts being made from both these teams as a slow stare down happens. I think both of them know where each other is right now. They know that WRG is sitting behind this tier 1. They know that they must be waiting for this jump. They know that they're smoked up already. It's probably ended. And that's going to be FICO TPing out. And a failed attempt at trying to engage with WRG.
Yep, they had to run, absolutely. They saw that the Zeus ended up already committing the Thunder God's Wrath. We're about to have a respawn on the Grimstroke. There's no way they could stick around for that fight. So, good decision from them to be able to run away from Punx. And speaking of good decisions, Shakey, somebody in chat that has made it a phenomenal decision by making the rive of typing in EGL1 into chat has been rewarded for their decision making by earning themselves a pair of Evetech Gaming Stealth Glasses, and that person is going to be Classic_Bants. So Classic Bants, wherever you are, one of our representatives will be reaching out to you in chat. Congratulations to you, good sir. Please reach out to him. Let us know how we can get that delivery done to you so that the next time we are live, you'll be rocking that swag from EGL. So shout out to the Evetech crew for making this happen. And as we get back into the game, Shakey, the one bright spot, there's one bright spot, right? I just figured out another okay situation for the side of Punx here, is the fact that we aren't too far away from Zeus having enough gold to either decide, are we buying Shard or the Aghanims, right? If I'm honest, I think what they should start to do now is, although FICO Damage has not been having a terrible game, so he should keep farming, I think they should just tell Astra, as much as I've been touting this thing of Slaughter needs to progress in the game, he's like Night Stalker, can't be allowed to fall behind, I think the need for more damage is pretty drastic, so they need to give Zeus more priority, so he gets some of these items. They'll find initiation later, but right now the issue is that unless FICO Damage gets a good curse that involves the Juggernaut, they actually don't have teamfight damage. So Zeus needs to be the one that soaks out some of those farms so he can get that damage for the squad.
Yeah, and TP is going to come out top lane as FICO and Freitex trying to hold siege here, while WRG looks for the opportunity to take these barracks as we sit at 29 minutes. We are about 2 minutes after the first barracks fell in the previous game. Tiger's going to use the old spin and hit. But he's going to quickly back away. No rush up as we wait for that timer. And that's going to be a 2 minute and 20 timer on the rush. That's going to be a bit of a wait as they're going to have to wait up for this one.
That's phenomenal for Punx. They should smoke right now. They just picked up the blink dagger on FICO Damage. He's trying to hide in the fountain so they don't reveal it. They understand just how big this reveal could be. And here they go. Time to make a move. Time to make a big play happen. And if we don't do this, honestly, I would GG out if this fight goes south. Because then the game doesn't seem recoverable.
And I mean, Melee and Bipolar is in a prime position for Punx to find them. And particularly, I can't continue that one. I wanted to make something there, but it just wasn't. They're going to commit the Thunder God's Wrath as that connects onto Bipolar. He's going to pop the Glimmer Cape, but no. They get us to jump in there. And
it's the second time though, Shakey, that they've committed the full Thunder God's Wrath just for Bipolar. They do not care about this on the side of WRG. Look where they are in the advent of losing a support. They're like, alright, we're literally just going to wait until he respawns, but we're going to keep pressure on the tier 2 so that the moment he's back, we can immediately start pushing the tower.
Yeah, and that's gonna be just as you said it. I mean, they don't really care. Jumping immediately from Melee on the back on the Zeus. This is something that you know how to use. The hook's gonna instead land onto Freitex. He's gonna pop that very important time. That's gonna be out of the fight for 60 seconds. As a good opportunity for WRG to look at the fight now as the important core is gone. We do have FICO moving up forward. He does have that Winter Curse available on top with the Blink and the Ags. So his ability to jump and get into the fight quickly is going to be amplified.
Such a great play from Billy.
Yeah.
So while that play that you were casting was happening, right, as they're moving towards the western part of the map, Billy was busy drawing attention from both Astra's Slaughter as well as the FICO Damage Winter Wyvern. He popped BKB, he has Drums of Bearing, or the full Boots of Bearing rather, and he just forced them away from the main portion of the fight. So even though it was like a little bit wishy-washy from WRG, they don't get punished. They started that fight 4v5. They don't get punished because Razor has BKB. Even as a support, this hero is phenomenal. FICO's dead, by the way.
Yeah, Melee's gonna go. Oh, the first blind hook that we see actually missed from Melee. As I think he thought that FICO's going to pop his Splinter onto the creep wave and then back away to his triangle. And he didn't. He kept fighting. Obviously, he didn't know they were there, so there was no reason for him to actually back before securing those farm mid lane. So, bit of a yikes.
Sometimes you outsmart yourself, Millie Pup. No?
Sometimes the big brain plays the too big brain for the enemy team.
Exactly, you know.
So now this kind of gets to a point where I'm thinking that this game is getting extended a bit too longer than it should. WRG surely needs to try and get this top tower, top barracks. They've attempted for it. They've actually gone and taken the range rack. So this lane doesn't essentially get pushed that much instead of if they got the melee barracks. So where do you think this stands? We're sitting at 32 minutes. Last game, we saw the first racks fall at 27. Zeus is going to use his Thunderbolt. He's going to use his Thunder God's Wrath to try and get information. But both his teams, maybe... Oh, it's the rush then.
Yeah, just going to be a quick rush play coming in. And the thing about this rush on right now, I think it's kind of important because they're going to need this on the side of WRG to make their next high ground push. They're really starting to realize just how awkward it is to play into FICO damage right now. So this is the first step. Get this Roche, get the shard, and then basically make Milipa jump and get a quick kill, force a buyback, and then try to force the Hydra.
And now they immediately, just before we could say anything, they TP bot lane to look at the fight. They got the one kill on the Tiny on Jace as Millie jumps back onto the back on Astra, and Billy gets the kill on Astra as they've lost two very important heroes. Buybacks are available, but this is going to be the start of the siege that WRG is going to go for that mid. They're not going to care about top. They're just going to go straight down the middle and try and get that tier 3.
Razor involved in 17 kills from the support position. Sure, seems balanced, seems fair to me. And speaking of fairness, here at EGL One, we believe in the principle of fairness of making sure that if we are giving away free stuff, the people who are claiming the free stuff, you don't just get to claim it and hold it forever. You have to declare the fact that you have won, and regrettably, our main man...
sorry, 1 second. Millipop actually gets a big hook on the back. He's going to pop off side. FICO gets off the Winter's Curse as he connects with the bus. This might actually kill him off. The toss from Jace onto the backline. Good play. BKB's going to get popped up by Melee as he pushes forward, misses the hook. Astro going to go for the stun. Does not connect as we see the blade downs coming off from Tiger as he tries to kill off. They get the soul ban. That's going to lock down both the Weaver and the Starter, but they get the kill. The BKB on Astro helps him out to secure that one. Bipolar takes one to the face. As for the first time in this game, WRG is on the back foot as Astra runs forward, tries to get the kill, does get the stun onto Phoenix as he keeps bashing it away. Tiger does not have anything available except for that Blade Fury as another one goes down. 3 down for WRG as Tiger gets some creeps to the face as the vision is there from Freitex. Tiger tries to get it off, and that's going to be Aegis down. Last man standing, 2 left as we see Billy having to run away the top lane. Tiger just goes down, gets out the healing ward. It's going to get denied by Chase as this is a complete marathon as Tiger keeps running while he high-fives it away. Psycho jumps in with the blink, and finally they kill this rat, which is Tiger. As that team fight went on a bit too long, but Punx, through blood, sweat, and tears, do get the jump onto WRG, and good play as we wait for a bit of communication coming up from Jace.
Jace, my man, dropping the BM in the middle of these chats here. What a guy. What a defense coming in from Punx. And, you know, normally we've said, I've said earlier in this game that he sort of griefed his team in the fight, but this time around, he absolutely gets them the team fight victory. Without this Tiny tossing heroes this way and that, they certainly do not come away with as much success in that fight as they did. But because he does, they get themselves 4 heroes wiped in that situation. They defend the base, and no important hero actually has to buy back. And to make matters even better, there was some vision laid out by WRG inside the Dire base, right in front of the tier 2 tower middle. And look, now this vision will be spending many minutes not really being used.
While playing Punch, Jace looked for the opportunity to jump Punch, but he's gonna get hooked. The blind hook from down south as Millipop grabs and it's almost like this guy has to be wearing some EGL glasses right now. It is confirmed that wearing these glasses gives you a 30% chance at 70% chance at hitting your blind hooks on Punch, because surely that's the only way this guy's doing that. There's no vision high ground. There's nothing. I mean, even the Razor's passive field wasn't even in time as he jumps another person. Astra has to pop BKB to get away. He's going to run away, and the hook from Millie lands yet again as Astra now has to reset that run, try to back away. The Stroke of Fate connects beautifully on it as we see the Dagon coming through from Phoenix, securing the kill. And Millie, just like previous game, sets up the pace for his team as they yet again push this tower, but Punx now with 2 less on their team.
Yep. Millipop, if you want to be exactly like him with the Evetech Stealth Gaming Glasses, you should enter the competition as we have redrawn. Unfortunately, the bands from Classic will not be giving him the glasses, but Athena 322 will be sending you a message. You get to be Milipa, but I can't talk much more.
Oh, the Arcane Curse is connected, but it doesn't do anything as Tiger was already in his Blade Fury. So that is going to be an ability thrown and an ability wasted as they try to stop the onslaught, which is WRG. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the second game of this best of 3. WRG is looking to be in the winnings to take this game and send Punx packing. According to Dota Buff, it is 83% win rate for WRG, and we are quickly seeing Punx fall apart. But it is not over yet. It is not over till the final barracks falls, till the final GG is called. And it looks like WG is playing with their food right now. Snare, what is going on?
What's going on is that WRG they're just leveraging how strong they are right now. And they're finding it much easier to fight outside of the base than they do deep within it. And whenever they are not caught outside of the base, and whenever Jace is not like manipulating their movement, we see just how easy it is for WRG to fight if they are set up. Like this fight, go awfully for Punx.
Beautiful setup. It spots out the engagement immediately. They were waiting for it. But can they implement the game plan? Can they get the lockdown that is necessary? As Billy has to run away. Psycho's come in to try and show some support. As we see Jugger hitting he's getting burned down by Psycho. The right kicks might be a bit too much. He pops out the ult. That's going to secure the kill on him. All on the meantime on the backline, Punch does the work that is necessary as he kills off the back. 3 still goes down for Punx. No mana available on Freitix.
No.
As he gets
No mana.
patted down by the solar. Gets patted down by the solar bind. Gets locked in place. 4 down for Punx as what looked like a good engagement. Hey, did you... that level of thinking for WRG to sit high ground and just wait.
Yep.
Wait for them to inevitably push them like they've done 4 times prior.
Yep.
Predictions was there.
They knew exactly what to do. They positioned properly. They had the 2 heroes that they didn't mind losing at the forefront in the Razor as well as the Grimstroke. Phoenix very well positioned next to the outpost to throw in the blast. The one big misplay though did come from the Juggernaut. He popped the Manta style way too early in the fight. So as a result of that, when he comes out of the spin, after he finds himself in a situation where he gets silenced up, but he can't actually pop the Manta to get the silence off of him. So he just ends up dying. So this Orchid that FICO damages ended up picking up, ended up being super value in that fight, but they still end up losing the fight very, very badly. And now here they are, Shakey suffering yet another push into a lane of racks. Might be the second one of the game fully completed. They didn't finish the top one, but this tier 3, they should at least get the tier 3 before they back off. Are they going to back off sooner? Oh, okay.
Oh, they want to play with their food. They've identified a target, and that is Jace. He's going to pop the Glimmer. That Static Link's going to evenly give him a perfect line of sight. He does get the Aeon Disc. In that Aeon Disc went off cooldown, or did he get it on the courier? But either or, it was like the slight little bit, but it wasn't enough. He still went down fairly quickly.
And to make matters worse, actually, he would have rather died sooner because he wouldn't have given away as much damage to the Razor. So Razor used that stolen damage to finish off the range racks. It might be a
jumps up forward from Melee. They do get the blind doesn't connect and just completely obliterates FICO as more gets done. Melee on the front while Billy also tries to set up. Bipolar's going to take some damage, but like we said before, it's fine if Grim falls. They still have the rest of WRG's Thunder. They've got the Thunder God's Way to try and set up anything. BKB popped out by Melee as we see a Linkage get popped up as well. But look at that damage. He thinks he connects. It gets the kill. The punch hook does not land, but he does get the Dismember onto Astra while the BKB is there. The Glipnir is going to get popped up by Freitix as we see the Illumination fly through from Phoenix and gets the kill. The double kill for Tiger, double kill for Phoenix, and this just looks like an uphill battle for Punx as they buy back. They do not want to give it up because you know why? This is the only opportunity for them to stay into EGL, but Phoenix says no, and the GG is called. That will be it. WRG sends Punx packing as a 2-0 victory happens for this amazing 2 games.
Whew. 2-0 victory, incredibly clean from the side of WRG in general. There might have been a couple of hiccups here and there, especially in game 2, but by and large, Shakey, it was very clear who the superior team was coming into this one. Punx didn't really have a chance, didn't really have a foothold in this game properly. The ideas were there. You could see the rationale behind what they were doing, behind the way they drafted, behind how they laned, but sometimes the enemy team is just better than you, and WRG just certainly showing their level of execution a little bit higher than what Punx is able to accomplish here today. I mean, we just saw in so many fights, right, that even when Punx were on the front foot, it literally required WRG to make mistakes before Punx was able to take like successful team fights for themselves. So I think that really tells us all we need to know about where these two teams stand. And like you mentioned, WRG, solid 2-0 victory, well-deserved victory, and they get to stay in the tournament. They get to progress. But that sadly does mean Punx down and out 9-12. But it's only fair. You know why, Shakey? Because last season, WRG was 9-12. This season, it's Punx. You know, they're swapping places, so it's okay.
It happens, you know, the meta changes, teams get stronger, teams get weaker. Eventually, it does look like this was an exam that was being taken, and it felt like Punx, unfortunately, came to the exam unprepared, while WRG did the homework that was necessary, and they did the play. And just like you said, it's kind of like an event of what team kind of takes the advantage, it takes the initiative to keep pushing, keep the momentum up. And the only time Punx was really at the forefront is when WRG was making the mistakes. So it was an extremely quick 2 games, but it needs to be said, Punx played fantastically. They still try to give their all. Unfortunately, there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. And today, that winner is going to be WRG. Moving on in the lower bracket as Punx, unfortunately, gets kicked out.
Punx regrettably removed, but that does not mean that their participation in EGL One was either in vain or it has come to an end. The Season 3 journey is done, but there will be more seasons in the future. So when that does end up happening, of course, we'll be welcoming Punx back into the situation, back into the fold. They've enjoyed the taste of the money before getting themselves into these top 5 positions. So hopefully in the future they can do so again. WRG, of course, every time they've not been 9-12, which is, you know, once, they found themselves in the top 4 position. So certainly history is on their side for them to make a very deep run within EGL 1 Season 3, of course, sponsored by Dell and Intel. Want to say a shout out, of course, to everybody at home who has been here, giving us the gas, giving us the eyes and the attention necessary to make this action really, really exciting. Of course, everybody at home, please, 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 do me a big favor, 1 big favor, well, 2 big favors. The first big favor, I need you to go on to at Evesports ZA. Make sure you were checking out everything we're doing that side so that you are aware the moment any action happens here on the EGL side of things. But the other thing I need y'all to do is head on over and give some love to the boy Shakey at Shakey TV. Go give him some love, give him some hype. Let the lion of South African esports grow that mane large so that you can keep supporting him, keep hearing that amazing and bombastic voice. And of course, I need you to do one final favor for me. Please, 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 please stop raging in Dota. Love yourself. Love everybody that you are around. And remember that this is not just a game, this is a way of life. And the best way to enjoy that life is with grace, poise, and as much action and fervor and politeness as humanly possible. With that, we're going to be closing it out. Snare and Shakey done for the day. Punx out of it, but White Rabbit Gaming not done in the least. And of course, here at EGL One, we are not done just yet for the week. So we'll be having some more games going on Wednesday, I believe. So make sure that you are here, locked and loaded. But the easiest way to find out is just to be following us on the socials. With that, Snare, Shakey signing out. Till next time, bye. We love you. Until then.